following program has adult language and potential spoilers. Listener be advised.
I've got a problem. There are aspects of my personality that I can't control.
See a shrink?
It's a little bit more complicated than that.
Bruce, trust me when I tell you I've heard them all.
Not this one.
The Marvel superheroes have arrived. Thunderous and American.
Fantastic Four.
Spider-Man, Iron Man,
Spider-Woman.
Welcome to the Marvel Superheroes Podcast. I'm Diabolu Frank, and with me are...
Illegal Machine and...
Senor Frank. No, wait. My bad. How did I say my name wrong? Senor Fixit.
Yeah, this is going to go well.
Yeah. Oh, this is just got... It's going to be...
We're already starting on the right foot.
Dude, that fucking con was brutal on me, dude. I'm fucking hurting still.
Okay. So, which is part of the reason why we're starting on this kind of early. In terms of, we're going to actually record the 10th anniversary edition coverage of The Incredible Hulk, the second film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, starring Ed Norton, Liv Tyler, and William Hurt. And Tim Roth.
Thank you.
Okay, respect. Despite the intention of heralding our characters, Iron Man, Captain America, and the Incredible Hulk, we don't often get around to talking about the core characters that we champion, that we love, that we wear the t-shirts for and shit. One of the last times we did any kind of real deep dive talking about the Hulk was in some of our earliest episodes with awful audio that nobody's probably wanting to listen to anymore. So real quick, I think we should kind of talk a little bit about our backgrounds with the Hulk, and we should definitely start with Mr. Fixit before he gets tired and falls asleep.
I've watched the Hulk since like the 80s when the original Hulk cartoon came out, and I found
the second Hulk cartoon, because he was on the Marvel Superheroes.
Actually, yeah, no, you're right. Okay, so my introduction to the Hulk was at my grandmother's house in her washroom where they had all this shit stored. I found a stack of comics, which a majority of them were Incredible Hulk team-up books or actual Incredible Hulk books. And those were probably the first comic books I remember reading at the time. And then from there, I went to G.I. Joe and everything else, but I started out with Hulk comics. And I actually still own the first one that I found that my grandma, that apparently belonged to my uncles, because my uncles read comic books. And my grandmother was a little bit of a pack rat, and she wouldn't let them throw anything, because I mean, they're poor, man. If you spend money on it, it's like, you're not throwing that shit away. And I just remember we had to go back there and I think get out like Christmas lights or some shit like that. I was super young, and there was a stack of books and National Geographics and like stuff like that. And I remember seeing these comics. I'm like, oh, comic. And this is how old they were covered in dirt, like grime and stuff, and I had to clean them off. And I just started reading them, and I was just like, holy shit, the Hulk is awesome. And then of course the cartoon was on, but at that time I think Bill Bixby's Incredible Hulk was on, and I watched it, but I didn't piece together that there was a comic book on that yet. We watched it because I was just TV.
So it was more like a Jekyll and Hyde monster thing for you, rather than a superhero thing.
Yeah, I believe so. I remember watching the Bill Bixby, the TV show. I remember seeing the cartoons, but those were stuff like you caught just by luck on TV. It wasn't something like they showed on a regular basis. I don't know about
the Marvel Superheroes cartoons?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I remember.
So this is before they started the 82 or so.
This was
TV
about
show?
Because I remember that's when Spider-Man and his friends. You would see Spidey and
friends. Yeah. Then I think in the second season they made it an hour with the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, with the Incredible Hulk. And that's when I was fucking hooked. Like I love the Hulk.
Great opening on that one too.
Yeah. Still, I have it on my YouTube's favorites. I watch it every once in a while. It's a great intro song. Always been a great intro song.
How about you?
TV show.
That was your introduction to the character, though. Did you ever progress from there?
TV show, little comic book.
Just a little bit of comic book reading, that's it?
Yeah.
And he appears in other people's comics, so you see the Hulk in those books and that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then for me, the Hulk, again, it's one of those things where he was always there. Whenever I bought Marvel Comics or had Marvel Comics given to me, he was always heavily merchandised because, it was in the era of the TV show, for instance. So he's going to be on the Slurpee cups.
Yeah.
They Mego action figure. I had the Pocket Heroes Hulk back in the day. I don't even know if you remember. Pocket Heroes was Mego's answer to Star Wars, where they converted the heroes to the 3 3/4 format.
Hell, I had a bootleg Hulk toy that was made out of metal.
No, I think that was a Mego as well.
Is
I don't know
it?
if that was a bootleg. I think
the metal one.
They had
his body was metal.
I think they did a die-cast line. I think Spider-Man also got one.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that was Mego.
I think he was missing a leg, but I had a broke-ass Mego Hulk that I bought at the flea market.
Didn't they make a Lance Armstrong version of him as well?
They did. Yeah, they did.
I remember that.
I remember that, yeah.
Would you just say a Lance Armstrong?
Sorry, Stretch Armstrong.
Stretch Armstrong.
What, did his balls inflate or deflate? What happened to that?
It came in a Sheryl Crow 2-pack.
Frank agreed with me, damn it, so he remembered the name as well. This was
Well,
Stretch.
technically,
Although I guess
bicycling is a sport, so
technically Lance Armstrong was irradiated and did appear to get some sort of superpowers from it.
From
The parallels between Bruce Banner and Lance Armstrong are
negligible.
close.
Well, real quick, I did watch all the TV movies, and I did watch The Death of the Incredible Hulk.
Sure, me too.
Do you remember how he died?
Yes, he fell from a
Fell
helicopter.
from a helicopter, man.
Yeah.
I remember that shit.
Yeah, because I mean, I watched
R.I.P.
they would run,
And I was like, that was fucking dumb.
No, my favorite was when Thor showed up.
No, that was amazing. Thor showed up.
Really? I thought that was just like...
Yeah, I prefer the Daredevil one, in part because I
Really?
always preferred Daredevil.
The Daredevil one was cool,
yeah,
too.
and because the dude from Raiders of the Lost Ark played Kingpin, and I thought he was fairly decent. So
I don't remember the
I just
Kingpin.
think
I just remember liking it as a kid.
yeah, tonally Daredevil just worked better. Where it was really obvious that they kind of did a generic Thor, and the fact that they split Thor into two different people, and one of them was the mousy nerdy guy that was like his sidekick. It's like you've already lost me, and I wasn't a get for Thor to begin with. But if you're gonna fuck up a character I'm not even that into, I'm really not down for it. So nah. But yeah, I watched all the movies because that was back in the days when they didn't make comic book shit, and so we watched every goddamn thing that had anything to do with comic books.
I remember
because it was our duty. It was the only, they'd make like a TV, if they made a TV movie, it was like the only superhero TV movie they made that year. It wasn't some awful, we created it for TV bullshit like Captain Nice or whatever that shit was that had the kid from Stand By Me in it, or just, it was always bad stuff. But yeah, the Hulk was a character that I hated as a kid because you always got stuck with his comics in the trades, and his comics were always, you're in a desert, the military are coming after him, and they're having a big fight, and there'd often be some stupid looking monster thing that the Hulk would be fighting as well. Leave me alone. And then he'd go off somewhere in the woods and he'd turn back into Banner. And that's like every goddamn Hulk comic I read as a kid. So
as much as I want to argue with you, you are correct, sir.
yeah. And it wasn't until the Peter David run, and that's when I became a fan. And what in reflection, part of what made me a fan, obviously, was I just really enjoyed Peter David's writing and the artwork they had on the book. And I enjoyed that a lot more than I liked the Hulk, because I don't know that Peter David wrote that many Hulk stories. He wrote a lot of great stories involving the Hulk, but I don't know that he necessarily wrote a lot of great Hulk stories.
Oh, he absolutely did.
He wrote some for sure, but he was
Countdown was fantastic.
Okay, yeah.
The persona which I play off of, Joe Fixit's character, was fantastic.
But is Joe Fixit the Hulk though?
It's one of his personas.
But
that's the thing I love about the Hulk is they've literally hinted that there's multiple Hulks in there. It's like every part of your personality is somewhat embodied itself. So he has the Fixit, which is about darker half. You have the raging Hulk that gets stronger. You have the smart Hulk, and then apparently there's a Hulk in there that they're all scared of. That's like the berserker, crack the earth type guy that they keep hidden away. I've always liked that because you don't, like most characters, you get bored. Like Batman is always just gonna be fucking Batman. Superman's always gonna be Superman. Wolverine was always gonna be fucking Wolverine. They're not gonna change. Hulk, you get a new incarnation if you want. Like, okay, we did a bunch of these. Let's do a Fix
The point is that was never a thing until Peter David took over.
No, it wasn't. I know Peter David absolutely created it.
So did Peter David write the Hulk, or did he basically create a new character?
No, he helped the Hulk evolve into something more than just in the sand, fighting the military, beating up a big bad monster of the week. No, so Peter David, because I remember I was reading the Hulk, and I noticed the shift in the writing and the tone, because I went from, wow, this is pretty good, to like, I mean, he went to the fucking microverse at one point, I can't remember the name.
Jarella.
Yeah, Jarella, yeah. Man, that shit, of course, now, Jeff Purvis's artwork was amazing, and then you had Mike Mignola doing covers.
He met Jarella back in the 70s, if I remember correctly, because I used to have the Marvel Superheroes was a reprint series. It was basically Hulk's version of Marvel Tales, which reprinted all the Spider-Man comics. And one of those comics that I was railing against was a reprint of one of the Jarella stories from probably the 60s or 70s. So she goes back a ways. But they did revisit Jarella during the Peter David, Jeff Purvis run.
And that was that was a cool run. I mean, they've just done so much with the Hulk that even Greg Pak's done some good stuff with it. I mean, there's only maybe one time period that I really was turned off by the Hulk. That was when, what's his name? Bruce Jones.
Yeah. Mr. Blue and doing like X-Files type shit.
Yeah, that shit was horrible.
Paquita and I were watching the Universal Hulk movie earlier today, and she was asking me, what was the same as the comics, what was different, and I explained to her that the Hulk was one of the very first Marvel characters. One of the first series came out, I think, in like 63 is what I told her, or thereabouts, and it was also like the first Marvel failure. because it got 6 issues out and then they canceled that shit. It wasn't working. The Hulk, as shown in those books, it was much different from the Hulk that would evolve from it later on. I explained that, little while after the book was canceled, they dumped him into an anthology book with Submariner that eventually caught on enough to where he was able to take over the anthology, and Submariner got spun off into his own book, in part because Marvel was just expanding in general. Marvel was doing well and kind of carried the Hulk. But the Hulk was always kind of a failure to a large degree. He was a guy who was never really as popular. Kind of, again, not to disparage your character, but Iron Man was kind of like that, whereas this guy that never...
It's okay, I won.
Quite, yeah.
It's okay, I've
you won. Yeah.
So
but for years and years, Iron Man was this guy that was sort of like a vestigial part of Marvel because he was there at the early days, there at the beginning. He did well enough. He was able to survive for years and years, and he had a loyal fan base that kept it going, but wasn't really that big of a success. With the Hulk, he had the TV show, and that helped make the comics do well for a number of years. But once the TV show was gone, he was kind of back in the shit where nobody wanted to deal with him. He was the book that people got thrust upon them rather than actively pursued. Nobody wanted to do the Hulk until Peter David finally got it. The only reason why Peter David got it was because he was the fucking sales guy that nobody liked, that nobody wanted to give work to, but nobody wanted to fucking do the Hulk anymore, so they fucking gave it to him finally just to get the fucking book out. But what I was talking with Paquita about is what makes Hulk interesting to me, more interesting than, say, Spider-Man, is Spider-Man was a success. And once you figured out what makes Spider-Man work and why he's somebody that people enjoy, you just keep giving him that same shit, variation of that same shit over and over again for 50, 60 fucking years.
And you can't stop.
And you can't stop because
you're going to piss people off.
It's McDonald's. It's you know what you're going to get. There's always going to be a base number of people that's going to want that. If you do it particularly well, if you come out with the McRib, then you're going to get a few extra people coming in for that shit. But as long as you're doing your McDonald's numbers, you don't really have to go outside of your comfort zone. You just stay right in there. And the Hulk was a failure from jump.
Wait.
And
is Miles Morales the McRib? What's the McRib? Now I want to assign.
I'm not.
I want to go through the entire McDonald's menu and assign a Spider-Man character.
Spider-Man character or artist or writer?
No, character.
No.
We introduced the McRib.
No, I'm not going through that. The Hulk is more interesting to me in terms of wanting to read his book, because I haven't read Spider-Man books in ages because I just don't care. He's always going to be the thing that he is now with slight variations. But because the Hulk was a failure early on, and he's been a failure many times throughout his run, I find failures more interesting than successes because failures challenge you to figure out a way of making them work. And oftentimes the way that you figure out to make it work at one point in time doesn't work going forward because it may just be capturing an element of the zeitgeist that it can't be maintained. So the Hulk has had a lot of interesting runs, and you never know necessarily what you're going to get with the Hulk, and that's one of the things that's great about the character and was great about Peter David's run.
And I also just want to say that Peter David had one of the most badass runs of artists ever. And I know we mentioned this in our earlier podcast, but he went from McFarlane to Purvis to Keown to Gary Frank to Angel Medina to... No, Angel Medina
wasn't a great
Eric
fit,
Larson did a little bit of work there, too.
He worked on the Hulk. It was
Well,
fun.
you went McFarlane, Larson, Purvey.
Larson did not have a fucking run, dude.
He
did
had
like
a few
an
books.
issue.
He did a few books.
He did not have a fucking run. That does not fucking count. Fill-ins,
it.
a few fill-ins does not count as a run.
I count it because that's a great cover.
Okay.
Oh, well, I'm so glad he did that one great cover.
He
He
did
counts
that
as
one
a run based on a great cover. Awesome.
Anyway, and then after Angel Medina, it was Mike
Deodato
Deodato
Jr. did it.
right?
He got one of the Kubert brothers did it.
That's right. He had a pretty good run.
Yeah.
Which is just a crazy stretch of great fucking artists.
It's comparable to what Uncanny X-Men had back in the day,
Yeah,
where they
and-
just went from one great artist to another great artist. Not all the same artists. They were all a lot of variances, a lot of differences.
Totally different. I mean, you have
but-
to Keown and Frank are very, are pretty close. But to go from McFarlane to Purvis, or we're going to say his name.
Well, the thing, let's acknowledge, as much as we may enjoy his artwork, that guy never broke out or anything.
No.
That's like his thing,
No.
the one
But
thing he did.
I don't think. No, I gotcha. But he wasn't a. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could argue he was, but he wasn't like we put fucking George Tuska in your book for several years. You know what I mean? No, shout out George Tuska. I apologize, but you know what I mean. Like they didn't throw one of the God, we got to find someone to put this guy kind of artist.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say. Great run. And again, Dale Keown to Gary Frank back to back. It's fucking just outrageous for the Incredible fucking Hulk. Who cares about the Hulk?
Well, because he was hot back in the 90s. He got
what I'm
fucking
saying.
hot.
That's what I'm
'cause
saying.
he
His book got hot.
But he wasn't an X book, and he was getting these freaking crazy artists. I mean, this was insane. Or Spider-Man. Who was Mark Bagley during that era? I mean, who was...
No. I mean, he had a similar thing. That there's an instance where you went from McFarlane to Eric Larson to Mark Bagley, and Bagley definitely had that nice mix of Steve Ditko and John Romita Sr. That was received.
Spider-Man artist.
But that was also, Bagley came on around the time that the Image Exodus was going to happen anyway. So you definitely had a shift in what kind of styles any of the Marvel books had because they lost so many of their A-list artists. So actually, yeah, it's kind of funny because if you think about it, Spider-Man had kind of a more of a truncated run in terms of hot artists because while he may have had McFarlane for longer and at his career peak, same would arguably be true with Eric Larson. But then you got Bagley, who's great, solid, but he was never superstar, million copy selling kind of artist. So yeah, to agree, Incredible Hulk had a much stronger run of hot artists to buoy him.
Wild, man. Sorry, just wanted to shout that out.
Yeah.
Because I've always thought that was super fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, even Doug Monkey. Didn't he even? No. Who am I thinking of?
Doug Monkey did Martian Manhunter.
Who am I thinking of?
No, he did like an issue of Martian Manhunter. What are you talking about?
Well, he did.
Well, that's a run according
Major
to him.
Bummer, but
No. Who's the other dude?
Ron Garney?
No. He did that awesome fucking Swamp Thing issue too.
Oh, Liam Sharp.
Liam Sharp also had a short run on there too.
Liam Sharp was between Keown and between Gary Frank and Angel Medina.
Liam Sharp.
It was a short run,
awesome.
but it was awesome. Yes, it was a gorgeous looking book. And actually, that was some of the more Incredible Hulk stuff that Peter David did too, because you had the monsters back. You had that darkness.
His Betty Banner was salacious. Salacious.
Yes.
We've never seen anything even close to your levels of exposure. That you survived an event like that, it's beyond my comprehension.
I don't want to control it. I want to get rid of it.
As far as I'm concerned, that man's whole body is property of the U.S. Army.
They want it as a weapon. If we let it go, we will never get it back.
What was that?
There's only one thing that can fight that. It's in me.
Maybe if I can control it, I can use it.
So having established our bona fides with comics, let's talk about the movie. The Marvel Cinematic Universe was just getting started. It really wasn't even a thing yet. I mean, they made a point when they were promoting the Incredible Hulk of connecting it to Iron Man because the buzz of Incredible Hulk wasn't great. That there was already people were aware of a lot of behind the scenes drama.
Edward Norton was
and a lot of people
to promote the movie
because
Marvel refused.
They didn't let him have his cut of the movie. He was really
Right.
pissed off. He wanted to recut the movie. They wouldn't let him. I always kind of wondered what his cut would be like too.
And didn't everybody hate him?
Yeah.
They said he's very difficult to work with.
I remember that, was it in 97.5 The Buzz, or 97.9, or whatever. No, 94.5 The Buzz, here in Houston. They were interviewing Liv Tyler, and they asked her about Ed Norton, because I think it was Rod Ryan's show, whatever, and she was just like, and like, she really standoffish about the rumors about her and him on the set
comes off
and
as a
everything.
real sweet kind of person, like somebody who'd be like real, like easy to get on with.
Very
They were all like
mothering.
very backhanded. Like he really cares about the movie and like all
the things I've read about him. They said he gets very intense, especially when he's either
she might have even used
directing
that
or
word.
writing or something.
He's very intense on set or something like that. But it would sound like, she's basically confirming that yes, none of them like him. And
wow,
what were we saying? Liv Tyler.
Yeah.
Continue.
Well, I mean, he did the same thing with American History X, where he basically pushed out the director, and the movie that came out was his final cut.
Oh, really?
The director just owned the cut of the movie. He
I wonder if he was a dick on Fight Club, or was that just too much big dicks around to rally
he could
him?
be a dick to David Fincher. I think that he could out-dick most people out there.
And you already had like the most gorgeous man on earth at the time, Brad Pitt, walking around set, and you can't really be a dick to him because the dude literally just drops pussy as he walked out of a room. So yeah, I just always wonder because, like I said, the two things I've seen about him, they both said he was not a difficult person to work with, but very intense, and he took his craft very serious.
Well, and this was back too when Marvel didn't know what they were doing. So just like with the whole
Was Feige part of this series?
Huh?
Did Feige
was still around. I mean,
was he introduced?
He's been around he was there when they were forming Marvel Studios, where they were putting that shit together. Max even talked about that, where he'd read up on that and how they'd brought him in. That's when they kind of started to finally get traction around 06 or so. So he was definitely there, but they still didn't know what the hell they were doing.
Yeah.
In the case of Iron Man, it was fucked up by they gave a ton of money to Terrence Howard, and then they ended up dropping him for the second movie because they didn't want to pay him and that kind of shit. And then with this one is because they let Ed Norton help write it. He basically sort of helped direct it. You know, he got a lot of bad press related to the movie. He ultimately didn't promote the movie. Yeah, he was the second actor to officially be dropped from the Marvel Cinematic Universe and no longer continue to play his role, because it happened to Terrence Howard first and then Ed Norton, since he wouldn't appear again until the Avengers movie. So I think that he was already not in contention to play the part again before the movie even came out, but since he wasn't called upon, he would technically be the second person who wasn't brought back for a sequel. I enjoy Ed Norton as an actor. I've really enjoyed many of his movies, very much, including American History X, probably my favorite of his movies. I like about 2/3 of Fight Club, as we've discussed in the past, and we'll probably discuss at some other point. I think
we have to do a Fight Club podcast.
We're totally going to do a Fight Club.
We don't talk about Fight Club.
Except when we talk about Fight Club.
But I don't talk about it because I think it's a shit movie.
Yeah.
Continue.
Douchebag.
But I like Ed Norton. I think he was well cast as Bruce Banner.
Really?
Yeah, reasonably well cast. But I didn't show up for the movie because there wasn't a Marvel Cinematic Universe yet. Because the buzz wasn't super great on the movie. I mean, they made a point of taking the stinger, which was such a thrill on Iron Man, and they put it in the actual trailers for The Incredible Hulk. It's like, look, Iron Man's in this movie. Please come see our movie. It didn't work that great. The Incredible Hulk made the same amount of money as the Universal Hulk movie.
With bigger names in it.
And
a lead off with
well, no, but you gotta remember, Ang Lee directed the Hulk, which everyone was like, oh, it's cerebral.
Everybody thought that Hulk was going to be the next Spider-Man, and then it wasn't. And then they made The Incredible Hulk, and I think there was a lot of confusion about whether or not this was a direct sequel to the Ang Lee movie, which was not well received. So I think that hurt. You did not have the Marvel Cinematic Universe yet. I think that Ed Norton was already past the point of carrying movies anymore. I don't think Liv Tyler was carrying movies in 2008.
Does Ed Norton carry movies?
No, he did not anymore.
I don't think, did he ever carry movies? I think he was always a well-respected actor. I don't think he ever carried movies.
Is there a point?
I can't think of any movie where he was like
Tom
the lead.
Cruise.
No, he's been the lead in a bunch of movies, but I'm trying to think of like when he actually had like a success, was like a crossover.
Yeah,
because he did rom-coms, he did dramas, he did ensembles. But you're making a good point. As much as I liked Ed Norton, there weren't a lot of movies where he was actually like big successes.
Well, he's not even
American History X. He does carry that movie.
He's not even Matt Damon. Matt Damon's got a couple franchises.
No, yeah, Matt Damon was huge. Yeah,
I mean,
even back then, Matt Damon was huge. Where I think before that he'd done like the 25th Hour with Spike Lee, which was a good movie. But I don't know that.
I think he makes good movies. The only movie I can think of
that he doesn't make money to where he's going to draw a big audience.
I mean, American History X. I saw it.
That's the one.
Yeah, it's the only one I can think of.
I don't think that was a big financial success. It was a critical success, and I think it found an audience on video. I don't think it made any money in the theater.
Yeah,
though.
I think American History X went a little more like cult favorite sort of.
Because I remember I watched it with you, Frank, and you were like, "Oh, you got to watch this movie." And I watched. I'm like, "Holy shit!"
No, you watched the movie before I did.
Did I?
Yes,
I thought I saw it with you.
I remember because that was one of those instances where you either were watching it on DVD or you had cable at that time, and we watched a bit of it, and then you basically said, "Okay," I'd said that I wanted to watch it from the beginning, and you're like, "Okay, we're going to stop now so you can watch from the beginning, or else you're going to get something spoiled for you."
Yeah.
Probably right before a key moment in that movie, so that I didn't have it spoiled for you. I'm grateful for that.
Maybe someone else told me.
Eventually watch
someone had told me to watch it, and I watched it, and I was just blown away by it. I remember thinking it was really good.
It's an incredible movie. Yeah. And the same thing happened with American Beauty. Is you rushed me out before I got spoiled of that movie too. We were watching.
So then you're saying I'm not a spoiler.
In those two instances, you actually protected me against spoiling. So I'm
not a spoiler.
That.
I wanted recognize. I wanted recognize.
Proves the rule.
I wanted recognize that this is on tape.
You know what's funny though is that Fryhole called you out at Comic Palooza because you spoiled some shit for him too, and I'm like, oh, he does this to everyone he knows.
God of War 4, I told him the secret and he fucking lost it.
It was so, because it was just funny because you were all like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna say something about I don't know if it was about Solo or something, and then he just offhand Fryhole's like, yeah, like you fucking spoiled God of War for me, and I'm
no, you don't understand. I had done it earlier that day, and he said, when I run into Frank or Mac, I am absolutely telling them you fucking spoiled something. I said, I didn't spoil it. And we had a big 10-minute argument about whether I spoiled it or not, and he made it his mission that if he saw you, he was going to tell you, even if it was just a random blare out.
He patted me on the back, and that was I was kind of
you disappeared really fast when we ran into, and you were gone like within 5 minutes.
Well, he disappeared before me, if I remember correctly. No, okay, I don't know.
You showed up, you said something to us, and then you were like the wind, dude. You literally faded away.
Dude, I'm going through Ed Norton's filmography, No.
No draw?
No. Absolutely not. Like,
It
it was because he had American History X and Fight Club back to back, and that was a fond time.
What about Red Dragon?
Well, no, he was also in that movie with Richard Gere that got a lot of attention.
Oh yeah, Primal Fear.
Primal Fear, yeah.
That's
got
a good one.
So he did Rounders, American History X,
I forgot Rounders.
and
Rounders
Fight
pretty
Club
good.
back to back.
Rounders made no money though.
Really?
Rounders is another one of those cult movies, yeah.
Oh wow, and that's
The Score,
John Malkovich was great in that one.
Red Dragon.
Remember Red Dragon?
He was in the
I saw
Italian,
that
the Italian Job. Matt Damon.
Yeah, nobody remembers that.
But-
That's
I didn't even know he was in that movie.
I mean,
I thought that was Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, that was Mark Wahlberg, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I never saw the Italian
Oh,
Job.
I just franked you. Oh,
Dude, I never even saw the Italian Job. I was agreeing with him.
The Illusionist in 2006.
Yeah,
no, that one sucked. The Wolverines was better. What is it?
So basically,
The one with David Bowie, R.I.P.
Dude, I barely even recognize any of the since the Incredible Hulk, Pride and Glory, what?
Prestige is what I was thinking about.
The Invention of Lying, no. Leaves of Grass, nope. An episode of Modern Family, Stone, nope. The Dictator, he apparently was uncredited by himself in The Dictator. Moonrise Kingdom, The Bourne Legacy.
and Moonrise Kingdom was a movie that people saw because it was a Wes Anderson movie. They didn't.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a Wes Anderson movie. And it just had that title.
And he's appeared in most of Wes Anderson's movies since then too.
Grand Budapest Hotel,
He was in that. Yes, he
Yeah.
was cool in that one.
Birdman.
But
Oh, yeah.
but again, these are all supporting roles. None of these are lead.
No,
roles.
None
that's
of these
true.
are lead roles. Shh, it's another TV
And these
series.
are
But actually, I didn't really like him that much in Birdman, man. But
The Guardian Brothers. He did an English version voice. This is some Japanese CGI movie. Sausage Party, Collateral Beauty, Isle of Dog. Like Ed Norton, I think because he did a couple back-to-back movies that are very fond. He
had a nice couple years there where he was.
No, they spent a few years in the late 90s and early 2000s trying to make Ed Norton happen, and it never happened.
never happened.
This is what he's pointing out to me.
Wait, aren't we supposed to be talking about the Incredible Hulk? How did this turn
I
into
think
the
Ed Norton is a huge
podcast?
part of this movie. So yes, I think that's what we were doing.
It felt we're going way on a tangent here, but okay.
I'm trying. So when you look at the first two movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Robert Downey Jr. and Ed Norton. So I'm trying to figure out
Two redemption arcs.
Rich Dad and Poor Dad. Who was going to make it?
No, what?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Never mind. It's a book I read.
But I think so this is what I think might have happened. You start with Robert Downey Jr. That movie's incredibly successful, right? And we've talked about this before in the podcast.
But Incredible Hulk's already in production. These movies came out a few months apart.
I know. No. I totally agree with that.
Oh, so they're both in production at the same time?
But that shows
They came out 2 months apart. What do you think?
that shows
I didn't realize it.
that they were still in on. You got to get a big because remember I've mentioned this in a bunch of our podcasts about how you cast these name actors to be your lead superhero, and I think that's the wrong way to go about it. That's the Wizard World way of casting, where you're like, let's just get the most famous person possible that looks like our guy, or the Benedict Cumberbatch method, which I don't like, where you, instead of the Chris Evans, where you go, let's just go find a good actor who we think has qualities that this character has. Instead, it's let's get the biggest name possible. We got to get the biggest name possible to be our guy. We got to get Ben Affleck to be Batman. Why do you need to get Ben Affleck to be Batman? So it's funny because I think that Robert Downey Jr. working, and they're like, okay, this is right. So good thing we got Robert Downey Jr., we got Ed Norton. These are going to be two big movie stars that are going to be our two of our main heroes.
But you've just established that Ed Norton was not a big movie star.
No, but he was definitely a name. He wasn't Chris Evans.
Recognizable name. If you saw his name on the...
Right. But he's not Chris Evans. People were like, who?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I knew Chris Evans, but most...
No, get the fuck out of here. He's not fucking Ed Norton.
He did two Fantastic Four movies.
He ain't Ed Norton, and Ed Norton ain't no Matt Damon. So what I'm saying is that sort of Ed Norton in this movie not doing well could have been one of the better things to ever happen to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because to me it solidifies the fact that the Chris Evanses and the Chris Hemsworths, this is the way to go. Now I still don't understand
Make the character the star, not the actor the star.
I still don't get the Scarlett Johansson casting after all these years. I still don't get it. I still don't know why the fuck they got this gigantic movie star to be Black Widow. But other than those two,
well, she actually ascended over the course of playing Black Widow, though. She was already hot. Don't get me wrong. She was a very popular actress, but I think she took it to another level once she played Black Widow.
Yeah, because her acting is really... I like when she's Black Widow.
Well, I think she got better over the course of the movies.
She got comfortable with the character.
I think as an actress in general, she's gotten better over the course of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But I also don't think she was the Scarlett Johansson we have today when she started. She was a star.
Maybe not.
She was a star, but she's one of the people where her star ascended over the course of these movies.
Yeah. But so that's why I just think that they're like, we don't need to pay these huge movie stars millions of dollars and give them fucking profit share and all this stuff. Like Robert got us, so he's in, and he, you know what I mean. But we don't need to. So I'm wondering if now I don't know how many of these guys have already been. They probably already had Chris Evans signed, and what I'm saying right now is total bullshit.
No, they didn't.
Well, okay. Well, it is or is. I don't know. I'm just wondering if Ed Norton not working out helped convince them that was not the way to go.
Like, don't go for the big names.
Don't go for these big names to be.
I can see that.
We don't have to have that for the movie to do well.
It's the character who's the big name, not the actor.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, and again, you can find this parallel going back to DC too. Christopher Reeve as Superman versus Michael Keaton as Batman. The Batman movies went from star to star to star, and it worked out for them until Batman and Robin. No, I mean, look,
Batman
financially.
Batman 89. Okay, well, but see, we went there. I went there to see Batman. I really didn't care about. I saw how they degraded with each actor. Like Val Kilmer was a shitty Batman. George Clooney was even a shittier Batman. Like they got progressively worse. Where even the name Batman didn't really save it for me anymore. Like I didn't care anymore. The first Batman 89, fantastic. The second one, I've gone back rewatched it. You're right, it is really good. I really enjoyed it. It's really fucking dark, like super dark. Third one is a huge leap. Like it's already been well documented that they started going, campy and they were getting goofy with it. Huge decline in quality. Man, I was done. They're so bad. I mean, no.
Okay. But the Superman movies got worse and worse too.
Same thing, yeah.
And they had the same actor.
True.
All the same actors for the most part in all of those. So neither one of those things proves the argument. That's one of the problems is that movies in general, if you can get a star to be in your movie, you do that.
You get the star.
You get the star, then you get the financing, and you get the, you can sell the foreign rights as long as as long as you've got a big star. So all movies were about get the star. It's one of the things that people criticize the Marvel Cinematic Universe for because it's ultimately devalued star power. Because people are realizing, and you see this in a lot of different genre stuff, and most of the big franchises throughout these days, people aren't going to the movies to see the actor; they're going to see the characters or the beloved story, and so you don't have these megastars like you used to have.
But didn't Superman make Christopher Reeves a movie star? Well, Christopher Reeves was pretty much an unknown.
Okay,
Superman made him wait. Superman made him a star. Michael Keaton was already a star on the rise with several comedic movies.
He wasn't on the rise. He was already.
He was a star. Yeah. Yes. I mean, Mr. Mom was fantastic. Okay, so he's already a star going into a role.
The whole problem was he was already a comedic star, and people didn't.
Oh yeah, no, I know that. That's what weirded me out too. Mr. Mom was going to be Batman.
But here's a problem with the argument though. Christopher Reeve, right? Name 5 non-Superman Christopher Reeve movies that were big successes.
What do you
mean? Name me 5 movies that Christopher Reeve top-lined that were successes that didn't have Superman.
None, I can't.
So he's not a star. Christopher Reeve was never a star. Christopher Reeve played Superman, and he had some roles.
Okay, so you're saying to be recognized as a star, you have to have movies of.
Yeah,
he's saying even after Superman, he was not a star.
Well, but you have to have hits other than the initial movie that I guess started your.
And so that's what I'm saying is people knew who Christopher Reeve is because he played Superman.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Where Michael Keaton was a star that they put into a Batman movie, like, what the hell are you doing a Batman movie? Because you got to remember, back in '89, the worst thing you could do would be do some dumb superhero shit and get typecast as a superhero and ruin your real career. Yeah. That was a real concern for Michael Keaton, I'm sure, is, am I ruining my career by playing Batman? And he proved that a big star could play one of these stupid superheroes and it could actually be a huge success, and it wasn't a catastrophic career move, which is the way it was viewed.
Well, I'm sure he was still waiting.
People saw superhero movies as career enders.
No, I'm saying you could argue that for quite a long time it did.
Yeah, Michael Keaton was the one person who kind of broke that curse. You could
let's be honest. He was waiting for that Beetlejuice Goes to Hawaii script to finish.
You kidding me?
No,
Michael Keaton didn't do shit after Batman.
He did.
No, fucking Tom Hanks stole his valor and took all of his roles. He should have never taken Batman. I think taking Batman.
The last big movie I could think of Michael Keaton doing is like the big. What was it? The big.
Big Squeeze?
Wasn't it the one where he's where's the one where he's a corrupt cop and shit? And he's rubbing cocaine on his fucking lips and shit.
I'm not sure about that. I think Michael Keaton's problem was he tried to pivot to more dramatic
films,
and it didn't work out for him the way it did for Tom Hanks.
Yeah, Tom Hanks stole his valor
because Tom Hanks and Michael Keaton were both big comedic stars in the '80s. Both of them tried to pivot to drama in the '90s. Tom Hanks was successful. Michael Keaton,
did Philadelphia, dude, which was like, he was doing movies that were very, very
Imagine
timely.
Philadelphia with Michael Keaton.
Yeah, but he was doing movies that were very timely. I think Michael Keaton was doing
because Michael Keaton did fucking Batman.
I don't think it was the Batman.
I think it was the Batman.
Keaton maybe didn't choose the right roles to make the.
I think it was the Batman.
Okay. Anyway. anyhow, fucking way off. You guys are gonna make me work hard on this one.
Dude,
we're still not even watching the fucking movie. God damn.
Don't want to watch. Don't want to watch.
I don't even know where we're at. Okay, so the point is, they got the biggest stars they could get, and the biggest stars they could get were kind of wash-ups essentially. Robert Downey Jr. did not have a career anymore when he did Iron Man. Clearly, Ed Norton's career trajectory was not where he wanted it to be because he did Incredible Hulk and he was gone.
I wonder how much.
Well, Incredible Hulk was like the last stop in the Ed Norton are you ever going to be a movie star train, and then he was done with the Incredible Hulk. So I don't think the Incredible Hulk killed his career. I think his career was probably already dead, and the coffin nail was Incredible Hulk. And again, probably because he was apparently very difficult and a bunch of other shit that came with that. There was a time when I do think that he had some pull, some star power. He would, if he didn't, he wouldn't have been able to get away with all the shit that he did get away with. But he never seemed to become a real commercial success. He never really became a star that could carry a movie with mainstream audiences. But he was he was a hot actor for a while there, but he never made the money for the studios
I think he could legitimize your movie, but he wasn't going to he wasn't going to put asses in the seats.
Yeah.
But if you're like, oh, Ed Norton's in that? Oh, I'll check it out. You know what I mean?
Kind of like, again,
I think you knew there was some quality to the film if his name popped up in it.
Or
it
you would, I mean.
Yeah, you're not going to walk in and be like, oh, it's going to be a shit movie. Ed Norton's in it? Oh, there's going to be some
I wonder
quality
how
to
much hearing Robert Downey Jr. signed on. I wonder who signed on first, Ed Norton or Robert Downey Jr. You think Ed Norton might have signed on?
Well, I'm pretty sure.
I almost think that I don't think either one mattered to the other one at that point.
I think Ed Norton was easy to insure. Robert Downey Jr. wasn't easily insured. So I'm
just trying to figure out what was Ed Norton's motivation to take a fucking CGI monster movie role.
He was a fan of the Hulk.
Fan, yeah. I heard he was a fan.
I heard he was a big Hulk fan.
Really?
I think he probably helped bring. A lot of people credit him with the movie being more true to the comics
than the first one.
Okay, you know what? That sounds familiar. Okay, so maybe
because I remember they said he was a huge fan, and there are definitely aspects of like Hulk lore and like the character, except for the Abomination. I mean, at least he looked like the Abomination in this one. The Hulk film when they had the Absorbing Man, oh, that was just a travesty. Which you and I will do. I'll do it with you. That's a fucking travesty in itself.
Well, I don't want to talk about the Hulk movie.
But I'm just saying he kept.
Why are we talking
he kept stuff from the books, huh?
What are we talking about that?
He was talking about how the Universal Hulk wasn't nearly as true to the comics as the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah,
was.
the Incredible Hulk is very true to the books in terms of what the characters look like. They took some liberties. They took some liberties, but for the most part, characters acted the right way. I mean, like Thunderbolt is Thunderbolt. Like when I watch him, it's like that's fucking Thunderbolt. So yeah.
Yeah, I will say that while I think Ed Norton is well cast as Bruce Banner in the movie, I think he would have been a good. I really would have been interested in seeing Ed Norton act against the Avengers. I think that would have been really interesting to see.
I don't think he would have been as fun in Ragnarok.
But I love Mark Ruffalo too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I still the guy who I wanted to play Bruce Banner, who never played Bruce Banner, I wanted Adrian Brody.
Really?
I still think Adrian Brody would have been the perfect Bruce Banner.
Who the fuck is Adrian Brody?
He was
in Predators. He's the pianist. What else has he done?
Oh yeah, Adrian Brody.
He did what is that? Son of Sam.
He's done a bunch of flicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good actor. Solid actor.
Yeah. Another guy though that maybe was too weird or too difficult.
Weird dude.
Didn't cross over into mainstream audiences.
I think he likes his art house shit.
Yeah, he likes art house stuff.
Actually, the funny thing, didn't he do a Wes Anderson movie with him? They're like three brothers on a train or some shit like that.
He was in Darjeeling Unlimited. Yes.
Ed Norton in that one?
No, Ed
no.
Norton.
Okay.
You're thinking Matt Damon. Just kidding.
Although Brody might have been in. Was he in Grand Budapest?
Yeah, he might have been in the Budapest.
He might have been. I don't think they had any scenes together though.
No.
It's alternate universe Avengers and the Wes Anderson movies.
You know what's funny is that Matt Damon at least has been in a Marvel Cinematic film more recently than Ed Norton has. That's funny.
That's true. Ragnarok.
No, that's Ben Affleck. Or Matt Damon. Okay, I guess what you're saying. I thought you said Ben Affleck.
Wow, I saw that. That was amazing. Where you literally were like, oh yeah. See, it's all those energy drinks.
Watch this. So what do you guys think about Liv Tyler in this film?
I think Liv Tyler is
she's my Betty.
Beautiful.
She's my Betty.
She is. She's very pretty.
Not my Betty.
She's my Betty. She's my Betty.
She's a Betty. She's
100%
a Betty.
She's the Betty.
But she's just too delicate and too sweet and too soft.
Too elf-like.
And Betty.
Too elf-like.
Betty is just harder than her. Was always harder than her. Liv Tyler, I think, could have played a great Betty if you were doing like the old old Silver Age 60s.
Where she turned a harpy and shit like that?
That was in more than the 70s.
Was it?
I'm talking about when she was the general's daughter. It's like, she's she's so sweet and she just wants to help Bruce.
The one where her heels kept breaking and she was always falling down?
You can see where she'd be the one who's like trying to mother this poor guy, this wound. She's trying to fix this wounded, this bird with a broken wing kind of thing. I think Liv
So
Tyler,
you're saying she didn't have the balls to fucking snap the bird's neck because its wing was broken. She would try to heal a bird that would die over time, or she was going to be their bedside for the rest of her life.
if you're doing an origin movie, Adrian Brody and Liv Tyler doing the origin would have been great. This movie, Incredible Hulk, is not the origin. This is advancing the story.
No.
And her Betty's just too soft. I read all those Peter David comics. The Peter David Betty had already been through all that fucking shit and been turned into the harpy and been captured by and kidnapped by so many different monsters and shit. And so by the time you get to Peter David's Betty, she's kind of she's tough.
Okay, I got something for you, right? Adrian Brody plays the Hulk, Bruce Banner. When he turns into the Hulk, it's the Joe Fixit persona.
What do you mean now? I'm sorry. I'm distracted because
he's not
keep
like Korean.
waving that dildo at me that you've been flexing
It's for
the whole
his
fucking
elbow.
night.
It's for his elbow.
I know what it's for, but all I'm thinking about is the dude from I think it was Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, the Guy Ritchie movie where he bludgeons a guy to death with a gigantic dildo. And especially when you're talking at it and waving it at me, all I'm thinking about is you bludgeoning me with
We'll
this
take a picture of it and put it up on the
this blue
Tumblr.
dong of yours.
We'll take a picture.
All I
and
can
put
say
it-
is it's about right when I go to the restroom. I'm just saying.
he calls it Thanos.
Things fade away. No. Adrian Brody plays Bruce Banner.
Are you
but when
like
he turns into
cosplaying
Hulk,
a movie while
he
we're
turns
talking
into Joe Fixit persona? Because Adrian Brody, I don't see him turn into a giant green creature, but I could see him turn into a smaller Hulk gray version that's intelligent and still has parts of his persona, like his personality.
No, I'll do one better. Joe Pesci is Bruce Banner. And Joe Fixit is... Who fucking cares?
We're definitely...
We're talking about Liv Tyler.
It's an interesting... Because the Hulk, you could put any actor in there and give them a different Hulk.
So since this is now...
True that.
I'm trying to get us back on track. So since this is not...
on track.
Since this is not the origin movie, who other than Liv Tyler would you have preferred to be Betty Banner?
Jennifer Connelly as a foreign.
Yeah, she was a good...
Is
she
it
was
weird
good
that
Betty.
I find Jennifer Connelly and Liv Tyler kind of similar?
They are.
You could... I'm telling you, I still believe...
That porcelain skin.
I still believe...
Quiet.
I know you guys argue against this. I still believe that the Universal Hulk essentially counts. I believe that the Incredible Hulk was a pseudo sequel when it was conceived.
Which is why
I think
she even looks the same.
Yeah, I think they intentionally...
Okay. With the Universal Hulk, the Hulk in that movie is very plush doll looking.
Well, he's not talking about fucking CGI.
But I'm just saying, but I'm just saying the look. When you look at this Hulk, there's a scene where he's just fucking ripped.
We know, dude. That fucking CGI changing doesn't mean anything. He's saying
no. But the
stop.
But the story. No, you stop. The story that's being told by Ang Lee is this softer tone. It's not a.
It's different directors. But the Ang Lee movie was an origin, and this is picking up sometime later on. And Betty kind of looks the fucking same. That's what he's saying. This movie didn't tell.
I would give you it's a sequel.
Yeah, Ed Norton's not dissimilar looking from Eric Bana. I mean,
well, you're fucking wrong, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, passively. Nobody's going to confuse Mark Ruffalo with either one of those two guys.
Well, no, because
you could kind of almost see where you could kind of.
Well, weren't they both kind of already Jack looking as like the Bruce Banner?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they got.
Wait, and one was actually David Banner.
No, they were both Bruce Banner.
Were they?
The dad was David Banner.
Okay, for some reason
they did that play because he was David Banner in the TV show.
Yeah,
so they made the dad in the Ang Lee movie David Banner. Yeah, but obviously there was a lot of complaints about the Ang Lee Hulk, and so they tried to correct that. Like, look, we did a much better job with the CGI on the Hulk a few years later, but still playing it loose whether or not it's a sequel. And again, it's a Universal movie-ish because it had to be done with Universal's blessing. That was the only Hulk movie they made in part because Universal was still signed on for that. So it even has that continuity where they had to cut Universal a check. It was still kind of sort of a Universal movie when they did the Incredible Hulk.
I'll give you that it's a sequel to it.
Pseudo sequel, I would say. Like,
what do we think of
quasi sequel?
What do we think about Thunderbolt Ross?
Well, can we actually watch some of the movie?
No, I'm trying to.
I know what
I'm going to try to make it by the time we're done with this conversation. You're going to be like, we don't need to watch the fucking movie.
Okay, well, go ahead and pause
Damn it.
Because, see, the only reason why I'm letting this happen, too...
Because it's really fucking good, and I'm actually keeping us on topic, but go ahead.
No, the reason why...
Well, don't say that it's not good, though. Okay, continue.
No, it's kind of not good.
No, it's good.
Try to edit this shit. The reason why I'm letting this go is because I think once we start watching the movie, this fucker's going to pass out on me. So I'm getting all his shit now so that he's not gone by the time we actually watch the fucking movie.
I'll stay up.
What do you think about Thunderbolt Ross?
I like William Hurt as an actor in general. I've enjoyed him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He is not Thunderbolt Ross to the degree that Sam Elliott was. Nobody's touching Sam Elliott as Thunderbolt Ross. So I will always have that.
I don't know, man. The dude was good, man, but
Sam Elliott was so Thunderbolt Ross. The only way he could have been more Thunderbolt Ross, he'd gone method and actually like put on about 40 pounds.
I was gonna say he was
because he was real.
He looked to me.
But
I imagine
don't
him more
he
like
Jennifer Connelly? Doesn't he look like Jennifer Connelly could be his daughter? Because they're both really like skinny people.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know,
but the intensity, like Sam Elliott's intensity, and the fact that the man just rocks a mustache, like.
But William, I think William Hurt looked more like what Thunderbolt was supposed to look like.
Huh? William Hurt?
Yeah, he looks really more.
They're both white guys with gray hair.
He looked. If you look at the comics, he has that short, kind of flat top.
Yeah.
Salt and pepper hair.
Yeah.
He has the thick mustache. He has a little thickness to him.
He pulls off the military man.
Yeah, he pulls off.
But he doesn't have the intensity. He doesn't have that growl. I can't see him like slathering in the mouth, firing a gun in the Hulk's face.
See, I would have to rewatch the Hulk with you. It's been so long since I've seen a movie. I can't remember a lot of that.
Thunderbolt Ross is just such a fanatic when it comes to the Hulk and going after the Hulk. And I think that the William Hurt Ross is too much of a politician. And we've seen that a lot, especially in the later movies after you've got the Sokovia Accords and stuff. And I just think Thunderbolt Ross is too much of a man of action, too much of a real military man to be like, oh, well, I've retired and now I'm working with the, UN or whatever the fuck, his deal is now. I feel like they turned Thunderbolt Ross into a different character to make him function in the cinematic universe. I'm glad they're still using him. I love that kind of continuity. I love that they continue to use these same actors playing these same roles. But I do think that they altered Thunderbolt Ross in a substantial way to make it MCU character and to make it a William Hurt character rather than having him play the character.
Have they ever had the William Hurt, the Thunderbolt Ross, Mark Ruffalo moment?
I don't know. I don't think they've ever been in the same room together.
Holy shit. How have they never fucking done that? And he even refers to, do you even know where Bruce Banner is right now or something? Or was it Thor? Do you even know where Thor is right now? Where they were asking.
Because if I had a couple of nuclear warheads, I'd want to know where they're at all time.
Yeah, holy shit. They never have that moment.
They've never really interacted.
I never even thought about that till right now. You're right. Wow.
He's become a functionary within the Marvel universe, but
he's not Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah, he's not. He should be chasing after the Hulk. That's his whole thing, and he's just not. We had Ryan on for the Infinity War episode.
Rion DeLay, our good friend.
And shit, I lost my train of thought. Damn it.
He went to high school with William Hurt.
Completely lost my train of thought on that. Oh well, pass on it.
Okay. What do we think about Abomination?
Oh, I know what it was.
Ah, shit. Quick, say it.
He was talking about how the character that Martin Freeman plays in the Black Panther movie is not Everett Ross.
He's Henry Peter Gyrick.
He's Gyrick, but also William Hurt is playing Peter Gyrick.
Yeah.
So you've got two Peter Gyrick, and you've lost both Thunderbolt Ross and Everett Ross. Huh.
Whoa. That was weird. Gyrick is a great character, though. So
Gyrick is a great character. I guess the X-Men don't own him. I don't know why can't Marvel just do Gyrick?
Don't know.
That doesn't maybe he'll show up and he'll be like all wisecracking and shit, and they'll just totally fucking flip it around.
Flip the names around.
So you were saying?
So what do we think about Tim Roth and the Abomination?
Tim Roth cannot do an American accent, and every time he tries, I find it mildly hilarious and really kind of kicks me out of movies whenever he tries to do that, because I don't buy it at all.
Yeah,
I can halfway buy it. I can kind of buy it in Reservoir Dogs, and he just had kind of a weird voice. Before I knew that he was not an American, he just was like, I don't know what fucked up accent he's got, but I'll go with it. But now that I've seen him in so many movies where he uses his natural accent, whenever he tries an American accent now, it just totally takes me out of the fucking movie.
Yeah, I don't get. I like Tim Roth. I don't understand why he was in this movie.
Again, I think there was an actor they could get.
So weird.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what the need was to have, because the whole point was to just make him a big fucking CGI monster. So what the hell's the point?
Well, not just that, but he's also supposed to be like this super badass soldier. And Tim Roth never strikes me as being a particularly large or intimidating fellow.
No.
So seeing him running around and shooting like the rocket powered grenades and shit, it's like you really need someone more butch,
Yeah, I mean, whoever the fucking modern day Dolph Lundgren is, that's who should have been that character. Because then when you turn him into the Abomination, it's like, oh, it makes sense. He's
and you don't
even
really
bigger,
need to
more
star
ridiculous.
For that role. That's
you don't.
Character.
That's what I'm saying. You just need a giant action dude. Get giant action guy to be that role.
I think it's one of those things too where let's get a bunch of names that we can manage to get, because Ed Norton on his own, Liv Tyler on her own, William Hurt. You need all together as an ensemble to kind of help sell the project. I don't think they had one person that was like going to definitely put asses in seats. But if you put enough people in there, you add enough value, you're more likely to lure people in. Because I think that's one of the problems with the Hulk movie is who's your draws there. Sure as hell ain't Eric Bana. It's like, okay, we got Jennifer Connelly and we got got Sam Elliott. And I love Sam Elliott. Don't get me wrong. I love Sam Elliott. Not somebody who's going to make people go to movie theaters, though. And so I think that there was probably an inclination to get as many different people in there as possible to gin it up.
Can we just watch that movie now, please?
We are.
Because he's drawing you out, right?
Hey, what did you guys think of the ending?
See?
I'm winking now.
He says as he's lying prone.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Oh, just go and watch the movie.
I'd rather watch the movie.
You got any more pitches before you actually are going to watch this movie?
Because you've been conned, my friend. You've been conned.
What did you guys think of the stinger? Just kidding. Go ahead and play it.
I've been alone for a long time. Not because I want to be, but because until I solve this problem, I have to be.
Your target is a fugitive from the U.S. government who stole military secrets.
This is the location. Snatch and grab only, live capture.
Take him.
You have to get as far away from me as you can. Go!
There are aspects of my personality that I can't control.
Target's in the overpass.
And when I lose control, it's very dangerous to be around me.
He's going in.
Pull back now.
That it? Is that all you got?
They want it as a weapon. And if we let it go, we will never get it back.
So if you're taking another crack at him, I want in.
I could probably arrange something like that. You ready?
Yeah, that's even the playing field.
Are you telling me another one of your Bioforce experiments has gone haywire?
There's only one thing that can fight that. It's in me.
All right, so the movie starts out with Bruce Banner. Okay, well, the movie really starts out, the opening credits gives you a rundown of Hulk's origin story, pretty much in line with the TV show. You know, gets hit with rays, turns into the Hulk, beats harms his beloved Betty Ross, which is what turns him against, and Thunderbolt Ross, her dad, and is what motivates Ross to chase after him, everywhere. Then the movie immediately becomes a sequel. That is one thing you have to say about The Incredible Hulk. It is not in any way an introductory movie. It's not an origin story at all. It starts off with Bruce Banner hiding out in Brazil, working at a soda bottling plant, dealing with stuff around that plant, and communicating via a special satellite link-up deal with a mysterious figure named Mr. Blue, which they took from the Bruce Jones period of the comics. We do not yet know who Mr. Blue is. Did they tell you who it was in the comics when they were dragging that out?
I don't remember. That Bruce Jones's run was the run that kind of...
It's funny because people
turned me off.
Were turned off once Peter David left the Hulk. They didn't like any of the follow-up. And then it seemed like when Bruce Jones came on, he started having like these X-Files conspiracy type things with the Hulk, being led around the country by a mysterious figure who communicated with him via the internet called Mr. Blue. People got excited about the Hulk again, and then it seemed like they just, like, not unlike the X-Files, they just drug it on and on until nobody cared anymore, and everybody lost interest. But anyway, we've seen that Bruce Banner has been trying to figure out ways to control his Hulk response, ways of controlling his pulse, his anger response. He's studying the martial arts, letting his martial arts master slap him around, figuring out how to
teach
not
him
get
how to
angry
breathe
about that.
to calm down.
You see a countdown at the beginning of the movie where it tells you how many days since the last time he turned into the Hulk, and apparently he's doing fairly well. He's going for months at a time without that happening.
Very bizarre wig changes from scene to scene.
Yeah, we don't know. I assume they must have done some reshoots after he'd gone off to do another movie, and he had a kind of a Henry Cavill thing going on, but with his head hair instead of his lip hair. Very obvious wig action going on. But ultimately what happens is he bleeds into one of the bottles of soda. Stan Lee and his obligatory cameo gets sick from that in the United States. They track where the bottle came from to where Bruce Banner is working, and mercenaries led by Tim Roth are sent to bring down Bruce Banner. What do we think about the movie so far?
Dialogue's fucking terrible.
Honestly, I was sitting there, I started realizing, I now realize why Iron Man was so successful. He was charming and funny and drew you into the film. Ed Norton has not drawn me into this film. I feel like we're watching what was the movie with Harrison Ford and the man with the missing arm? Witness?
Oh, Fugitive. Well, that's what the TV show was.
Yeah, but it's like they're chasing him down. I don't know. I just don't care. Like, I enjoy the movie, but I don't care. Like, I haven't been drawn into Ed Norton's character. I don't feel sympathy for him.
I don't think that Bruce Banner's supposed to be charismatic like that. Tony
but Ruffalo does such a great job that you care about the character. You care about him.
But you should feel fucking like
both of y'all now.
You should feel bad for him, right?
Yeah, you should feel
like,
something.
Oh, this poor dude's trapped. Instead, like the Mr. Blue shit where he's just like IMing back and forth with a guy, and they're just like long pauses on text on a screen. And I'm like, this is fucking shoot me.
I forgot to mention too, Mr. Blue is a mysterious figure that's trying to help Bruce to come up with a cure for his radiation
poisoning. You don't need to give that detail. So, but what I'm saying is you contrast the beginning of Iron Man to the beginning of this movie, and it's just
it's day to night.
Snooze fest.
Yeah, because I just watched Iron Man like last week, and the first 10 minutes of the movie is fantastic. It's funny.
They're doing long pauses on instant messaging text going back and forth, and it's like doom 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 click 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 send doom 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 reply dun 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 YES dun dun dun, and it's like, what the fuck did I just watch? And then he's clipping a flower into a fucking bowl and running it through a fucking centrifuge. Like, this is the most stop. This is fucking horrible, dude. This is so shitty.
It's
a bad way to start a movie. Is all.
Yeah,
we're not far into it, obviously, but I'm just saying it's a bad way to start.
I think that they're two different movies, and I don't know if a direct comparison really does this movie a service.
Do you feel drawn in?
I'm just comparing.
I'm enjoying the movie. Yes,
I'm comparing.
I'm enjoying the movie, but are you drawn in?
Hey, I'm not enjoying it.
Okay, well, you didn't want to watch. You've been doing everything possible to avoid watching this movie, so peek behind the curtain. There'll probably be some editing involved, but literally, but Mac over here, you guys gotta fucking quit with the fucking masturbating. You're fucking me up.
I've been trying to for years.
Fucking assholes. Mac has tried to avoid us watching this movie entirely. He has no interest in watching the movie. We basically recorded a bunch of our opinion material before we started watching the movie because he is dead set on not finishing this movie or starting it even. And I'm not going to let that happen because I do like The Incredible Hulk and I do want to watch this fucking movie. I think that they're two different movies. I think that they're two different characters. I'm glad that the movie has its own identity. Bruce Banner is not charming, charismatic, sex on wheels, Tony Stark.
But he's not funny. Or he's not.
No, he's not supposed to be funny, but I like the character.
Spoilers.
I like the way he's reacting to shit, but none of the other actors are bringing that kind of game with him. He's not, he's just, most of the movie so far has been subtitles of him speaking in Spanish with people that are speaking a bunch of
Portuguese.
Sorry, yes. The only problem I do have though is I don't really get the pathos either. He seems like a pretty alright, like well-adjusted guy. I know he's struggling with his anger and shit, but I'm not necessily getting that from these scenes. I'm getting
Ed bumped Norton into and stuff, and he's just like,
yeah.
And you're like, okay.
Yeah. I think Adrian Brody would have done a better job with that.
Okay, to me, he seems really confident for someone that has such a huge burden.
Yeah. If
that's what turns me off. Mark Ruffalo seems the kind of guy that he feels the weight of the burden of the Hulk. And you feel that with his acting, his mannerisms, just all that. I feel that. So when I watch, I'm like, I could see that, like, that's just him being worn down. Ed Norton is just way too fucking confident. Like, he's just like, and he's built like a shit brick house. I mean, I'm
he's
just
not
like,
shit brick
no,
house.
he's not. He's skinny
fit.
as fuck.
Oh, he's pretty swole, dude.
Ed Norton in this movie is super skinny, dude.
Yeah.
Did you not just see that? He looked like a
lean,
fucking 14-year-old.
Lean muscle. He's
but he's very confident. He just comes off confident. Like, he doesn't feel like someone who's really has this burden of this monster on his shoulder.
Yeah, he's trying to mack on that chick that he works with, and he's all trying to like stick up for her and stuff. If somebody was afraid that he was going to let off a nuclear bomb in the middle of Brazil, he wasn't acting that way.
Yeah.
Well, I think that they were trying to show that he's a hero because he recognizes that he can't help, but then he finally does. does because he can't walk
get it.
away
No,
as
no,
well.
I get what they're trying to do, but
the problem is, I agree with you, is that he's a little too well adjusted. He doesn't come across as troubled. He comes across as like annoyed more, like he's got a little put out. But, but not somebody who's like damaged. Just somebody who's kind of like, fuck, man, this Hulk thing. I really don't, I don't want to do this Hulk thing. That'd be kind of
you don't have a cure?
right?
Darn it. Oh well, back to work. That's all.
So
my watch is beeping. I better calm down. Huh?
Yeah, but I enjoy watching him act. It's just like I agree with you. You're not getting the sense of
a burden on him.
Yeah. But the chase through the favela, though, I do think is well shot. I do agree that more than likely the Fast and Furious franchise kind of ripped that sequence off.
Any movie that went to Brazil uses that scene where they're going to jump through the favelas. That's just like stock footage for them.
I mean, the entire Fast and Furious franchise is built upon a remake of
Point Break. Didn't they do Matt Damon's movie there too? One of his movies?
The Bournes?
Yeah, one of the Bournes.
Oh, I can totally see a Bourne movie.
Yeah.
There. Totally. I don't know
we totally haven't seen a Bourne movie since the first one. You and I saw that in the theater. Neither one of us, I don't think, has ever seen another Bourne movie since.
No, but
I liked it okay. I think we both liked it okay.
Tangent.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Matt Damon again. Matt fucking asshole.
He just keeps coming into this conversation.
Maybe Matt Damon should have been
Or no,
Bruce
he
Banner.
doesn't, because I probably gotta add all that shit.
Dun, 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 dun.
So, you keep asking why Tim Roth is in this movie. I think it's because you got Mr. Blue and you got Mr. Green, so they had to get, what was he, Mr. White?
Maybe.
In Reservoir Dogs?
Reservoir Dogs?
Yeah. No, Mr. White was...
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Check
Anyway,
this out,
Reservoir,
doesn't
I think the Reservoir... Mr. Orange, maybe?
Maybe.
He looks orange with the spray tan.
Yeah, he looks very spray tanned in this film.
Very spray tan.
Very splotchy.
Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, not large, not intimidating.
No.
Kind of does itself. Mercs, working with the government, go after Bruce Banner. They try to trank him. It doesn't work out. He ends up hulking out, almost certainly killing most of the Merc team. Also, those guys that were trying to...
The Brazilian thugs.
Yeah, trying to sexually harass that chick that he was with. I did not like Bruce Banner doing martial arts moves on people.
No.
They weren't super effective, but Bruce should just not be doing martial arts shit. That was a bad call on their part.
The movie picked up, though. I mean, it turned into an action flick, so I was okay with it.
Yeah, and I have to say, I really like the cinematography on this movie.
Yes.
I like how the action scenes are shot. There's a lot of superhero movies that feel very staged, and while I'm sure the plant was some kind of a stage or something, they might have been something that was real, I'm not sure, but it looked real enough, and the action sequences worked really well.
It's not all CG backgrounds.
Yeah. The Hulk is not shown in too much, which is great. He's mostly in shadows so far. He's scary as fuck.
Well, no, that's the only part I didn't like is I don't believe the Hulk would have ran away. He would have just ran at them and tried to run through them and keep going. He wouldn't have ran the opposite direction, hiding, like trying to get away from them. The Hulk doesn't really get away from stuff. He hulks out and then attacks whatever's pissed him off.
Yeah.
And then, punishes them. This one, he was running away while they're shooting him. I think at one point, he even growls, "Leave me alone." Like he
does. I heard that.
Yeah, you heard that too?
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, okay, I'll let that slide. But then when he's running away and they're all like chasing after him, shooting, I'm like, well, Hulk wouldn't run. The Hulk would grab someone and start throwing shit at him until he destroyed his target. It's just, I get that they want,
I feel like this is the Hulk sequelitis going on right now, is that this is a Hulk where Banner is exerting some degree of control over the Beast. That's why you're seeing him actually do a little strategy and like grab people and pull them out into the shadows and stuff. He's not just going full on barbarian, kick everybody's ass kind of thing. You do hear him talk, and I think that's part of what
smarter Hulk.
He's trying to contain himself, because when you said he ran, I don't really see the running.
No, there's a scene where he's running and they're running behind him and they're firing because they're hitting all the bottles as they're running through the bottling plant.
I don't think he knew they were there yet.
Yeah.
Really? I was just like,
But because he's a lot of it's just like him. I think he's moving a little slower because he's trying to stop himself from killing these motherfuckers, and they just keep coming at him until he kills those motherfuckers. Obviously, but to the degree we've seen the Hulk so far, so much better rendered in this movie than previously. And I think they were smart to get as much detail as possible, as many veins, as much contours of the muscle, make him look really well defined. That was something that was very much lacking in the earlier Universal version. But again, really well shot action scenes. Sometimes superhero movies look like they just look fake. They look like set upon set upon set. And this, you can tell they went to actual locations and shot them under natural light, and looks really, really great.
So, they're doing a lot of these great pan shots where he's walking and they're showing the jungle and like the lush greenness of the jungle. I was like, I like that. I appreciate appreciate that.
And I think they actually went to the favelas, and you do get a sense of setting. You do get a sense of scale through all those
how compact everything is. Yeah,
yeah. I think that's really well handled.
I appreciate that.
All right, so Bruce makes it out of Brazil eventually, makes his way to the United States, tries to make contact with Mr. Blue. Mr. Blue needs more information than he can get.
More data.
On the way to getting that information, too, we run into Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah, Mac, Lou Ferrigno.
Reinforces my belief that this is a sequel to the Universal movie because Lou Ferrigno's cameo in The Hulk was also as a security guard.
No. I get you even one better.
What's that?
If I remember correctly, The Hulk ends with Banner in the jungle nursing, I would say, the poor, tribalmen or something like that.
Yeah, he's looking for tribal medicine. Yeah.
So I'm assuming he landed somewhere in Brazil or rainforesty area, which would lead him to be in Brazil.
See, it's a sequel.
So because I was thinking about when we were watching, I was trying to remember the ending of The Hulk, and I remember there's a scene because these rebels or drug dealers, some come up while he's helping, the community and giving medicine, and he's like, you won't like me when I'm angry. And I remember that's in the dense jungles. I'm like, oh shit, it would be Brazil. So it literally could lead off from this movie.
Yeah, which I guess is another reason why Universal wants their cut. They're trying to do another one of these. So because Banner can't get the information that he needs, he's getting ready to split. He's been staying with this kindly Italian stereotype, Mamma Mia Papa.
At Stan Lee's
Pizza. Stan Lee's Pizza.
He's on his way to leaving when his ex-girlfriend, Betty Roth, shows up with her new boyfriend, Dr. Leonard Sampson.
I'm just saying the dude from Family.
His name is Leonard Sampson. I totally missed.
Is it?
Totally not catch that.
Was it Leonard Sampson?
Dr. Leonard Sampson, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
I didn't catch that.
Played by Ty Burrell, best known for Modern Family, playing essentially the same dude he plays in Modern Family. Betty spots Bruce, brings him in, shows him that she's been hiding information on his exposure on a zip drive, and offers it to him. For some reason, they have to go to the school that she works at. She's a professor or something. While they're there, the military comes in and tries to contain the Hulk. There's a big battle involving the Tim Roth character, Emil Blonsky. Oh, we forgot to mention, Emil Blonsky's been exposed to some variation on the super soldier serum, which is a blue fluid, just like in the Winter Soldier and Civil War. We also get to see Emil Blonsky do the run thing, which I forgot about. I totally forgot that sequence happens. He does the outrunning the other soldiers bit that
Younger
we saw
soldiers.
in Infinity War. Yeah. Well, like when Cap and Black Panther are outrunning the Wakandan soldiers, he does the same thing here. So continuity. And I remember really liking that when I saw this movie the first time. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I forgot that sequence.
Yeah, because you were very much like, they can do a Cap movie. It's just got to be what Tim Roth does in this. This is Captain America.
Oh, do you remember me? Yeah, I absolutely did say that. When I saw Tim Roth fighting Hulk in this movie, it's like, fuck, that's Cap. They're doing Cap. Tim Roth is doing Cap right now. That's awesome. So it made me so excited. Plus, the Hulk ends up pulling up a shield, essentially. He creates two shields. What did you guys think of these sequences?
I thought as much as Iron Man's CGI holds up, this movie is the exact opposite.
Yeah, the CGI doesn't hold up very well.
Dude.
I think it looks all right.
Oh, no, this is terrible.
Yeah,
dude.
I think Iron Man is easier to do. I've always thought that his
it was a machine. You're just building a giant robot.
Yeah, it's shiny.
With this one, you have to give it every muscle. Because that one scene when he lands and he kind of flexes his chest,
it looks terrible.
That was really overly ripped. That just looks very
critical.
Dude, I'm a Hulk fan. I'm a huge Hulk fan.
I said it's 10. I'm comparing it to another 10-year-old CGI movie.
Right, but I think Marvel knew what they had with Iron Man in a way they didn't. They knew they didn't have it with Incredible Hulk.
I
think they
was
put the money.
merely saying that of two movies produced 10 years ago, one of them still looks pretty damn good because a lot of it can be practical. Like when you're conversing with people,
there's a lot of practical.
He can be in a fake Iron Man armor. Whereas this one, they have to do full CGI, and you're like, holy shit, this looks fucking terrible. This looks terrible.
I wouldn't say terrible.
This looks terrible.
Compared to today, yes.
I will say some of it is also because the frame rates on these TVs make it look more fakey. I'm sure that's not helping it either.
Well,
but
it's a 4K TV, so of course any blemishes are going to be amplified.
Don't try and explain to me 4K TVs. I'm just saying it's the frame rate. It's the shit that why people don't like these Blu-ray movies because the frame rates are so accelerated it makes everything look like it's on a set. Like that's what it looks like. Some of that is why this looks bad, but a lot of it is because it looks bad.
No, I think
when
it came out it looked fine. It doesn't hold up very well.
I like it fine. I don't have a problem with it. I like like that the Hulk design, because this is the first time we see the Hulk full on in broad daylight, everything else. I dig that this is very much the 70s Hulk, you know, with the really shaggy, wild hair.
I would say Hulk is the first one. The first one, Ang Lee's Hulk was more beefy and bigger. And
yeah, no, but that's not necessarily the 70s.
This
though.
looks like Angel Medina.
Yeah, this one is very detailed.
It's a mix because I think the basic design is 70s shaggy Hulk, but with a lot of hyper detailing that very much recalls Del Keown and to a lesser degree Angel Medina.
He felt kind of small for a Hulk too.
I don't know that that's the case. He's pretty big.
No, he feels kind of small for a Hulk.
He's a little leaner.
Yeah,
he's just very lean.
Yeah, he's just too small. To me, the Hulk is a Hulk. It's hulking.
I really like the design. I think this might actually be my favorite of the Hulk designs we've seen in the movies.
Wow.
I think he looks fucking terrible.
I think that sometimes he's just too bulky in the other movies. I like that he's a little leaner, a little tighter in this one.
I think this looks really bad. Like all I could stay, if even the opening scene where you guys were sort of like, oh, they look kind of good. I thought when he like steps out, when his foot comes down and smashes a gun or whatever it was, in the bottling plant scene, this looks terrible, dude. This looks really bad. This looks way worse than I remember it looking. Yeah. Way worse.
I like it. I'm still enjoying it. I really enjoyed the action choreography.
His body is not consistent from scene to scene. It goes like weird and like flat sometimes. It's just really.
I just felt he's too small to be called a Hulk.
Yeah. I like the Hulk. I like the action though. I love that they can't just have a Jeep rev up and run out onto the field. Everything's got to like leap. You know, everything. There's some sort of a hill or an 18 leap ramp. Boom, boom, boom. I think that the action's cut really well. It's it just moves. I'm very drawn into the action. I love the way that Tim Roth's CGI avatar is jumping around and fighting the Hulk. But I also like how it just feels like it keeps ramping up. I dig how you've got very comic booky. It's like, well, here's where we're going to come out with the sonic cannons and shit. It feels so much like a Hulk comic. And while I've already mentioned that the Hulk comics I grew up on were not my bag, I really appreciate the fidelity. And because of how well it's shot, I'm enjoying a sequence in live action that I wouldn't have necessarily enjoyed in animation or in comics. I really dig. I think my favorite part of this movie is the university battle.
I thought the shields were cool, and he was chopping and throwing the shields. I thought that was cool, but I didn't think it looked good. But I thought it was cool.
Bisects the tank. Man, I love that.
Yeah, like that stuff was pretty cool, but I don't think it has not held up 10 years later.
Okay,
it was bad.
I'm still thoroughly enjoying that sequence. So, but
the Tim Roth running looks terrible. I remember how awesome that looked 10 years ago, and I'm like, this looks bad.
It doesn't look as good as
the wire work is not that great.
The wire work is not good.
You can tell
it's clear without wire work.
Yeah,
admittedly, but I think it was clear back then. It reminded me a lot of the speed running from the first Superman movie, which I know is not necessarily comic given that it was decades before this one. But I still enjoy. I enjoy it. It's a little cheesy, but I still enjoy it.
I think that I could not disagree more. The sequence was freaking really hokey and bad, and the CGI did not match well with the practical things being thrown around, especially when it comes to him and Betty towards the end. It looks freaking awful. It looks terrible. The scene we're paused on in the cave, him and Betty, they are completely. This is like
the lighting is off, but that's not a big
way
problem.
off, dude. I'm just saying. I'm saying it's 10 years old. I understand it's 10 years old. It looks 10 years old, very much so.
So this is one of those instances though where I'm starting to have a little bit of a problem because Betty is harmed. Basically, she gets caught up in the melee.
Oh, we didn't talk about that too.
And gets
Before all
nearly
this.
killed. And then afterwards, during the cleanup, we find out that it was Leonard Sampson that dropped dime on Bruce. He thought that he was doing something good protecting Betty. Maybe there's a little bit of I'm pissed off this guy's suddenly run off from that chick and I'm not even in any of these scenes.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
I only turned up again just now. But he psychoanalyzes Thunderbolt Ross and basically says that Thunderbolt cares more about his mission than he cares about his own daughter and is willing to let her die if it means getting Banner, which is something I don't care for. I think that they're demonizing General Ross so much in this movie. I think it makes him much more of a simplistic character. He's just like kind of just a flat evil military guy. I thought that the character was much more nuanced in the Ang Lee film. So that's a major issue I'm having is Hurt just plays him as just a one note villain to my mind. And that's why I'm not as into that. But I'm also not into Ty Burrell as Liv Sampson though. It's just like I can't get past that. It just doesn't click for me. It's nothing to do with his performance. I just don't think he's well cast.
Well, before this whole university scene, you've got Betty and Bruce at her house talking about the data stick, and it's like the most wooden, horrible, boring exchange.
Like you said, there was no chemistry there.
We didn't say that on. Like as that scene was going down, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like there's no chemistry between these two. You cannot in a million years tell me that these used to be lovers who had their lives ripped apart and they haven't seen each other for years. I'm like, or a year, half a year, whatever.
Well, however long it's been.
Yeah, I'm trying to count the days without incident and they're sleeping in separate bedrooms and stuff. And it's just like, this is just really, it's just the most, I mean, look, I like Liv Tyler. I would never say she's a great actress.
I'm getting some Christmas Jones flashbacks, seeing her try to play her university professor. It's like, you know Christmas Jones?
No.
From the Pierce Brosnan James Bond movie where they tried to get
Angie Everhart?
No.
The other one.
It was
Charlie Sheen's ex.
Charlie Sheen's ex, yeah. She was in, what's that movie? Wild Things, yeah. Dude, we're on, holy shit, you're reading my mind, you freak.
But anyway, so I'm getting...
Hold on. Her name is Denise Richards.
Denise Richards, you got it. Good job. Circle gets a square.
But yeah, we're not in that territory, but we're not far from that territory in terms of she...
You are correct, sir.
I think that Liv Tyler was cast to look like Jennifer Connelly, but she does not have the awards that Jennifer Connelly has earned at our acting career, I'm afraid.
Why didn't Jennifer come back?
Probably because they didn't want to pay her. She was.
Or do you think they were just trying to clean the slate of everybody from the first one?
I think so.
That might have been part of it, but also I think Jennifer Connelly cost a hell of a lot more than Liv Tyler. Even
she don't really carry a lot of movies, man.
Really? Jennifer Connelly's been in like 2 movies ever: Labyrinth and Hulk.
That is so not.
No, she's been swimming with sharks.
She's been a
what?
She's done a few movies.
Was it a TV show?
She was Academy Award nominated, as I recall. You know, she's done a lot of fucking high end flicks. She just does a lot of like dramas and shit, so you probably haven't seen it.
Yeah, so I'm sure the bunch of dramas she does really gets her that action hero budget. I think it afford Jennifer Connelly. They're wiping the slate clean. That's all it was. There was no need to go get Jennifer Connelly. It's a different movie.
Or she just turned him down. That's also a definite, distinct possibility.
No, I think that
she doesn't do a bunch of.
No, I'm pretty sure they're distancing themselves from the fucking bomb that was Hulk.
It wasn't a bomb. They just
that movie was a fucking bomb.
It was not
dude.
a bomb.
Well, then when was the Hulk 2? Huh? It never came out because the movie fucking bombed.
It underperformed because they thought he was going to do Spider-Man numbers, and they pumped a ton of money into it.
So why the fuck would they bring Jennifer Connelly? I don't think it's had anything to do with Jennifer Connelly. They couldn't afford that Jennifer Connelly money? Is that what we're fucking really saying in this shit?
Marvel
fuck out of here with that bullshit.
No, Marvel Studios, I don't think had that kind of money. No. That's why we got fucking Ed Norton as the fucking star, dude.
Ed Norton was a bigger star than Jennifer Connelly?
No, he was not.
It's slam dunk. Yes, he is. Jennifer fucking Connelly. Yes, he is.
Look at the fucking filmography, asshole.
I don't need to. You don't need
to do any research to back up your argument. Okay, sure.
No, I'm telling you, as a human being,
I suppose.
As a human being who watches movies, Jennifer Connelly is not a bigger star than Ed Norton.
I would have to agree with Malcolm because I don't hear her name pop up in a lot of movies.
Ever? What the fuck is fucking Jennifer Connelly in?
Just because she's not in the movies you watch doesn't mean she doesn't carry fucking
She's not in the movies I watch. She's not in the movies that I see make any money. There is no way Jennifer Connelly is raking in so much cash. They're like, whoa, we got Robert Downey Jr., Ed Norton.
Fine.
Draw the fucking line of Jennifer Connelly, for God's sake. Are you trying to bankrupt us with Jennifer Connelly here?
Setting that aside, Marvel had no money. But setting that aside, also, she doesn't really do a bunch of these action-type movies. She mostly does dramas. So
I think Liv Tyler and Jennifer Connelly make comparable money. I don't think that I'm not saying it didn't have some effect somewhere. I'm telling you, Jennifer Connelly's not in this movie because she was in the last movie.
Okay, well, Jennifer Connelly's still making movie and Liv Tyler's doing TV, okay? So
is Jennifer Connelly still making movies? What the fuck?
Yes.
What's the last movie she made? And I swear to God, if it's Lifetime, you lose.
It's not on fucking Lifetime, you fucking ignorant
Was it in 3D?
Just because you guys don't know things doesn't mean things don't fucking exist. Just because shit's not in your fucking sphere doesn't mean it's not a thing.
I think it's a pretty good indication if it's not in my sphere, she's not making so much money the budget could not afford Jennifer Connelly.
But I just
That's
fucking
all
said
I'm trying
that
to
she
say.
also doesn't do a lot of these fucking action movies.
But
you're so fucking hung up on shit, you're not fucking hearing it.
That's right. Okay, it's The Rock and then Jennifer Connelly. You're right. They couldn't afford to pay her $25 million fucking dollars. It's Jennifer Connelly, dude. Give me a break. I think there's a good chance she would say I don't want to do it. I don't think, but it would mostly because that movie sucked. I don't want to make another one. That she's probably living on her movie star island that she could definitely afford with all the fucking art house money she's making. Give me a break, dude. She's making money on Labyrinth residuals.
I was about to say Labyrinth.
She's in the upcoming A Little Battle Angel. She was in Noah.
Dude, Noah was like 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
She was in The Day the Earth Stood Still in 2008, same year this movie came out. She was in Blood Diamond a couple years before that. She was in Little Children. Again, a lot of drama. House of Sand and Fog.
How could they afford Jennifer Connelly for those movies, Mr. Fixit?
A Beautiful Mind.
So we're saying 08 was probably pretty much her sweet spot.
So Russell Crowe gets her a lot of roles?
she's got a fucking Academy Award nomination. She's got BAFTA nominations. She's got all these fucking awards. But yeah, you're right. She's not. Liv Tyler and Jennifer Connelly are fucking comparable. What the fuck?
I would say, I'm not saying actress-wise. On the Smash-O-Meter, maybe.
Yeah, because they don't.
On the Smash-O-Meter.
Okay. So an Academy Award nomination
does not contribute. That has nothing to do with how much she gets paid.
Oh, really? It doesn't?
No,
okay.
I don't think it does. Sure.
Okay, Mr. Hollywood. You know.
I don't think it does. I'm sorry.
I mean, some of the biggest money-making movies, their Academy Awards are in special effects, sound.
Shut up.
It's never the actors. No, it's true. It's never the actors. Give me the last one.
You guys, no, just stop. This is not.
You just don't like it because it's shooting holes in your.
You guys. Okay, look. And this is funny too.
Okay.
Get mad, asshole. This is so fucking stupid. The Rock probably makes a $50 million a movie, and it's not because he's got Academy Awards and fucking thing.
Because he's a draw.
It's because he's a big, charismatic, handsome dude.
Dude, Skyscraper's coming out, which looks like absolute garbage, and it's going to make a shitload of money.
Dumbasses in the same way in stereo doesn't make you fucking right. Now, can we move on?
It's Jennifer I cannot believe you are fucking dying on a Jennifer Connelly hill.
I can't believe
she's not in the movie because they're not making a sequel. It's a pseudo sequel, so she's not in the movie.
And move on, for fuck's sakes. This is a dumb fucking argument. Okay, neither one of us are hearing the other one. We're just wasting each other's time. Let's move the fuck on.
I just can't. You drop. Well, like she's in the movie. They play Jesus Christ. Smash-O-Meter.
Actress Jennifer Lynn Connelly was born on 12 December 1970. Jennifer Connelly started as a child model, but is perhaps best remembered for her portrayal of Marion Silver in the science fiction movie Requiem for a Dream in 2000. So, just how rich is Jennifer? As per the estimation by Celebrity.money, Jennifer has a net worth of over $32 million as of early 2017, mostly accumulated from her career as an actress, which began in the early 1980s. Jennifer appeared in her first movie at the age of 11, and in another 9 by the time she was 20, but with little acclaim. It was in the 2000s that she finally found recognition through movies like A Beautiful Mind, winning an Oscar, Golden Globe, and BAFTA award.
Betty and Bruce go off to a cave somewhere in the rain after the battle. And I swear, didn't the exact same thing happen in the Ang Lee movie? Because those movies start to meld at that
They're in a
point.
forest, weren't they? They're like in the California redwood forest. Yeah, because that's when they get attacked by the radiated dogs.
But no, it's after the dogs. Right? I don't know.
I don't remember. I got to rewatch it.
They start to meld together at that point. It throws me off. I can't remember which one happens in which movie. And then ultimately they end up in a hotel room. They manage to make contact with Mr. Blue again with more data. That's when we find a strong reference to S.H.I.E.L.D., which you didn't remember even happened in this movie.
I didn't even remember that happening.
And what's interesting when you think about it is that they don't tell you that...
but wait, which came out?
Hold on, but help me out. Hold on. Clark Gregg's character, Phil Coulson.
Oh,
they don't say... Phil Coulson doesn't say that just call it S.H.I.E.L.D. until the last scene of Iron Man, right before he announces, I am Iron Man. So we haven't seen any S.H.I.E.L.D. iconography. We haven't seen the actual logo or any of that stuff like that. So already this movie is showing us more of S.H.I.E.L.D. as the entity that we would become to recognize in later movies, more so than we saw in Iron Man.
Now, which one came first, Iron Man or Hulk? The Incredible Hulk.
Iron Man came out 2 months before the Hulk.
Okay, so then they alluded to S.H.I.E.L.D. So when this one came out, they're like, well, they've already talked about it, so we can just throw it in.
Right,
okay.
They've already opened that door.
I just, for some reason, felt like maybe that was added in later on, or oh shit, we did talk about the S.H.I.E.L.D. Let's go ahead and throw that into
they easily could have.
Yeah, I don't remember that scene at all.
Because they're just showing that S.H.I.E.L.D. is now monitoring for Mr. Green and Mr. Blue, and they catch when...
And no actors needed. You could do that whole scene with just CG.
It's all CGI.
So they could literally have put that back in the movie.
The fact is we see an FBI agent actually seeing the readout and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't think it even was S.H.I.E.L.D. initially. They probably stuck that in at the very end.
I wonder, because that's weird. I just don't not remember. Because I would have figured, oh, cool, S.H.I.E.L.D. I think if I was sitting through this movie, I would have said, oh, cool, they referenced S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, again, it was just 2 months after Iron Man.
Yeah, that's true.
Again, we did the 10th anniversary Iron Man podcast. Now we're doing the 10th anniversary Incredible Hulk podcast. So it's that close together. It feels like we just did the Iron Man one. We find out too that the person that he's contacting is a fellow named Stearns, which is familiar to some Hulk fans. That'll come in a moment. The other thing is that Tim Roth's character, Emil Blunt, Blonsky got fucking totaled at the end of the university battle.
Yeah, that was cool.
He was in traction. He looked like he was, clinging to life. And then within a short period of time, he
goes all Wolverine and shit.
Yeah, he's totally healed, with the exception of the badly airbrushed abs.
Airbrushed muscles, or he was wearing one of those shitty Spencer's Gifts muscle shirts, like shirts with muscles on them.
And you guys
fake tattoos and whatnot.
And you guys were talking about the chemistry between the lead actors again, the romantic chemistry.
Well, my question was, who wrote the dialogue for their love scenes? Because they come off very wooden. Like, there's no real emotion to it. It's almost like A talk to B. B responds to A. A will respond to B. B responds somewhat with a physical touch.
I'm checking IMDb, and it's the same person who wrote the romantic dialogue in The Phantom Menace.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm joking.
Okay, I was about to say, that would make such sense, yeah.
Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman, kind of a similar vibe between these two.
For all we know, Ed Norton was trying to ad-lib this shit with everybody, and everyone's like, this just sucks. I don't know. I can just tell, and I'm sure I'm just reading into it after the fact, but it certainly seems like two people who didn't particularly care for one another on set.
Yeah, but not just that, though.
But I know it's hard to say that. And again, Liv Tyler is not fucking, she's not this amazing actress. I'm sorry, I hate to keep saying that.
I think that
I feel like even she could do better if she had some more chemistry with somebody.
Right. Well, sure, yeah. No, when they have chemistry, it'll definitely project on the screen. They don't have chemistry, so it's not coming through on the film.
The dialogue isn't great. I think that Ed Norton is selling the dialogue. I think that he
feels more like the lead, and she's following like his.
Yeah, he feels like he's trying to bring life to some dead material, and she's just not carrying.
And
her
lots
weight
of really
all.
weird pauses.
Yeah,
there's some weird, just bizarre pauses, and then next scene transitions in this movie. I don't know. There's something very strange about
And like I said,
she feels like she's sleepwalking through this movie.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Well, like I said,
but again, I don't know how much of that is just Liv Tyler. My
biggest issue is they could have interjected a little comedy. They tried to with I can't get too excited. Where I told you premature ejaculate.
You may want to say what happens in that.
Okay, well, Bruce and Betty are in bed.
They try to have a sex scene.
They're getting kind of hot and heated. They start making out. Frank did disclose he found her legs very sensual.
Yeah, she had lovely legs. Yes.
Lovely legs.
Liv Tyler, come on, man.
Yeah, and they're getting heated up, and of course he has the watch that's beeping faster and faster and faster, and he's getting worked up, and he says, we have to stop. I can't get excited. I myself would have thrown a comedy scene in there where he prematures, and it goes like Max said, it speeds up, and then it starts to slow down.
Beep.
You know what? People laugh. People laugh. It's one of those. It's almost reminding me of a moment like from Ragnarok where it's like a weird. Okay, best one is Avengers, where Hulk and Thor are sitting there next to each other after bringing down the giant creature, and then the Hulk smashes Thor and knocks him down. Like, that shit was funny. It catches you off guard. You don't expect that. It's funny. People laugh, react to it. Or when Hulk smashes Loki on the ground. Those are great Hulk moments that are comedic, but still within character. And that would have been comedic within character still.
They missed an opportunity.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed with that. There's no humor in this movie. Everything seems so heavy. It's like, it's action and it's heavy drama. And I'm like, let's put a little, levity into it.
They haven't found the Marvel formula yet. They haven't got that.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
It's like Ed Norton's like, okay, I'm supposed to be funny here, but also I need to be funny as somebody who was beaten by his father and has been on the run for years. So I have to deliver the funny line like I'm a tormented soul who never had. And it's like, dude, just fucking lighten up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Lighten up a little bit.
Like I said, I now realize what people say when you have a movie, especially the Marvel movies, when you have all this drama stuff and you have a little comedy to lighten up the moment, kind of, cleanse the palate.
Jim Starlin said
Well, that's right. Yeah, it cleanses the palate, gets you ready for the next scene. And this is just like they're shoveling it in, and you're just kind of like, I need a break for a minute. Like, even the action is fine, but it's not enough of a break for me to like kind of reset and get ready for the next thing.
And also the whole sequence with them in the cave in the rain,
which looked terrible.
It's funny because I just got finished defending the daylight sequence, and then they switched to the night, and it's fucking total rubber, total fucking action figure getting sprayed with the water hose stuff. Awful looking. No, the interaction they did. It literally.
I still feel
look like an action figure. It looked like an action figure that's been like partially melted in a microwave. It just really fucking
shiny,
fake.
super shiny. Well, like I said, he doesn't feel like the Hulk because she is literally chest high. That doesn't make me feel any better about him being the Hulk. Like, I think of the Hulk and I think of a Colossus. Colossus should be chest high to the Hulk. So that means the Hulk should be that massive. So this chick should be belly button at best. Like, he should be massive. He should be this massive Hulk.
But later on, when they're sitting next to each other, he looks that.
Yeah, he did look bigger. Yeah, you could see because when they're sitting, his legs and his knees, I did notice her body length was almost like the length of his. Yeah. And I didn't want to say nothing him at that moment, but I was like, fuck, that looks off. Because like he's crouched down sitting, she's sitting next to him, his knees coming to her chest, meaning okay, there's all of a sudden there's a huge difference in height. So yeah, but I mean, I'm not gonna blast the movie for that, but it just feels like, you know, let's make the Hulk Hulk.
Well, what I will blast it for though is like there's a whole scene there where they go to the cave and he lays her down and she wakes up and he shouts at the thunder and lightning, and then they're sitting together and then they lay down together and then the next morning they wake up and Bruce is back and Hulk is gone. It's like, why is that a whole fucking scene? Why are we spending like minutes on this?
I didn't even think about that.
You know, they could have just, they land, he lays her down, and then it's the next morning and he's Banner and she wakes up and she finds Banner again. And why do we need that whole fucking scene? You know, it's just, the
to show off the
pacing is
monster?
funky. Maybe that
If
was
anything,
the intention.
use those minutes for more Betty and Bruce or something.
No less. I think this movie just needed to chop out as much of the human element as possible and stick with the action, because it's doing the action well, the human stuff not well.
Yeah.
Some goddamn humor. Okay, so where did we leave off on our little recap? I think I know. After Tim Roth gets his super healing on, he decides that he's just not powerful enough.
Well, was he deteriorating?
They gave him another shot of their bullshit super soldier serum. He started having like, weird spine things happening and going pale and just getting kind of creepy looking.
Scoliosis is fuck.
Yeah. And so he was kind of freaking out, getting sweaty, all that kinds of bullshit like that. Meanwhile, we find out that Mr. Blue is actually Samuel Stearns, a doctor at yet another university, because everybody in this fucking movie is a doctor at a university or in the military, one of the two. So Stearns thinks he may have a cure. They attempt the cure. Banner becomes Hulk on a operating table. Betty's able to climb on his chest and chill him out. It appears that he may be cured. The military shows up though, shoots Banner with a trank.
Oh, you're skipping a huge part where Dr. Blue or Mr. Blue's telling him how he's created multiple versions of his radiated blood for testing, and how he sees it as a cure for sickness and all these great things.
All these applications for the gamma
positive
blood sample that he was able
yeah.
to replicate after Banner sent it to him.
And Banner's freaking the fuck out, saying no, they just want to make another weapon.
Yeah, that we haven't figured out how to cure this. Even if we do have a cure, having an army of Hulks would be horrific. We've got to destroy all this shit, and they're arguing about it. When the military tranks Banner and comes to cart them away. After they're carted away in the same helicopter. They're not even handcuffed, are they?
Well, no. Well,
he's handcuffed.
Okay.
Well, what bothered me is I hate the fact that Ross told him, if you took it away from me, I'm going to put you in a deep, dark hole. Like, they're just really trying to make him come off as a villain. Like, he really wants this
weapon. I was complaining about. He's so one note. They're overplaying him.
Yeah, I really didn't like that.
There's no
not
moral
evil.
complexity. No, he's just full on. Well, the guy who's willing to sacrifice his own daughter to get a weapon for the military is like, dude, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. And I honestly thought if they were going to have Banner in a helicopter, they would be injecting him with like some kind of sedative continuously to make sure that he couldn't.
Why would he be awake? Why would he be just like sitting on a bench?
Like no big deal.
What kind of pussy-ass tranquilizer was this that he's awake before they even take him out of the building? Like,
right.
A lot of this movie just makes no fucking sense.
They're supposedly working under the assumption that he can't Hulk out anymore. They've already cured him.
No guarantee.
They didn't tell anybody that.
Why would? Yeah. Well, and like you can't determine that because you just tranked him and are putting him on a transport. You have no way of verifying any of this bullshit, you know?
And then they load him in a helicopter with Betty.
And two soldiers.
And Ross. You're in the helicopter. If he fucking hulked out in the helicopter, it would explode and you would all die. None of this is... But it's because they need to have them all together.
Convenience of the story, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just like, come on, dude.
Well,
And he's literally in, handcuffs, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. They're up in the helicopter. Emil Blonsky confronts Samuel Stearns and forces him to give him the Banner-irradiated blood.
At 52%, too. I saw that on the vial.
Nice. He becomes the Abomination, as we knew that he would. He also kicks the shit out of Samuel Stearns so that he gets knocked off the side, has a head gash, gamma-irradiated blood drips into his wound, and he starts to become the leader.
Mm-hmm.
His head starts to swell up, and he has a little smile over it because he's pretty happy about it.
I think he would have made a better gargoyle.
Or MODOK.
I thought Tim Blake Nelson was fine. The thing is, it's another one of those convenient things. Part of what was nice about the character of the leader is he is a janitor. He's a particularly underwhelming,
mediocre,
intelligently, and then he becomes a super genius, and you understand why he wants to lord it over people. It's just like Banner is somebody who's wimpy and weak, and he becomes superhumanly strong. And so you've got the whole Stan Lee ironic or poetic reversal. And so when everybody's a doctor, it's like, well, he's going to get smarter. Okay. So what's interesting about that really necessarily? He's just going to get a little smarter. Okay. I thought Tim Blake Nelson was entertaining. I think that he
delivers his lines great.
He was in a different movie from everybody else because he was going way bigger and it kind of worked. I think
chewing up the scene a little bit.
Yeah, he was definitely chewing up the scenery, but having fun with it. Also, he gets some comedic moments with Betty, and it's clear that the comedic stuff works better. She plays it better. She's not selling herself as a scientist, but she can sell herself as an actor. I mean, as a person who's upset at a cab driver or trying to, I don't know. It just
deal with her rage.
Yeah, she's in those moments she's acting, where in a lot of the other moments she's sleepwalking.
She's not acting, she's reacting.
So for some reason, randomly, Blonsky rampages in Harlem, and he's also still looking for a fight because, again, talk about one-note characterizations. This guy, he's getting older. He wants to continue to be a badass. He wants to fight as long as he can fight, and now he's just looking for the person who can fight him and make it worthwhile for him. Simple, very
dumb. That was a really dumb.
It's like they're trying to build up like he has some grudge against Banner.
Yeah,
like because he defeated him all these different times. So he's like, I want round 3 now. I gotta be able to defeat Banner.
Whatever it takes to win.
When I find Banner, I'm gonna stomp his. You know what I mean? It's just like I don't. Okay, I guess I don't know, man. I just don't know.
I think maybe they need a little bit more comic influence on here. You can really see the machinery. You can really see them moving the pieces into place just to make sure that certain things happen. But it ends with a variation on what we see in Ragnarok. Bruce has to take a header into the pavement to try to reactivate his Hulk powers. They did the same thing in Age of Ultron too. And partway down through the fall, he's like, oh shit, I think I'm going to die. Of course, he doesn't die because he's the fucking Hulk. And then he has a great big fight. Now, the first thing I'm thinking is, why doesn't he try to fuck Betty on the plane first? Just to see if it, that doesn't make
That's what they were insinuating when she kind of rubs her foot on his.
I thought she was just consoling him or showing that
I agree on that one. I don't think they're trying to
she was giving him some sexy eyes and was
trying to trigger him
in front of her dad. Yeah, I don't think they're that awkward.
And then we also see the Abomination and Hulk climbing around the buildings, which we saw very prominently in the Avengers movie. So you can see that this movie has a legacy. It does. There are elements from this movie that carry on into other Marvel cinematic efforts. I do think it's super clear, though, now that we're at the end of the movie, that S.H.I.E.L.D. thing was tacked on at the last fucking minute to give it more continuity. Just like you have the big battle between Abomination and the Hulk, and then cut to Tony Stark in a stinger that was almost certainly filmed after they'd already wrapped on Iron Man. Not a particularly well-written scene, almost entirely carried by the performances, not at all by the dialogue. I did think that the battle between Hulk and Abomination was decent, but as usual was way too long.
It looked like a video game.
It was way too long. I was getting sleepy. It's getting late. I'm starting to doze off. I did like how brutal it got there toward the end with the chains and the stabbing and everything. But
that was all cool, and at least they had the balls to at least go, you know what, we're gonna have a giant CGI guy fight a giant CGI guy, fairly well lit, no smoke, no shaky cam.
The little attitude. We had the whole boxing glove police car thing where the Hulk rips the police car in half, turns into boxing gloves, and so you get to see that shadow as he's smashing against the Abomination. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean there were some cool elements to the fight, but it wasn't time. They didn't have the budget to pull this off.
And still very rubbery at times. You'll have moments where it looks real good and then moments when it's not so hot.
No, and I mean, it was just, it was straight up a video. They went to a video game studio and had them make this. That's exactly what it looked like. Because after a while, it wasn't even like, there was nothing they were interacting with that was real. And you couldn't pull it off 10 years ago.
I think that helicopter was flying to Raccoon City at one point.
Yeah, exactly. And it would be weird because they would show like Betty's face in the window.
Right.
And I'm just like, oh, this looks real bad. This is really, really
there's some Command and Conquer kind of elements there too at times. So yeah, definitely not as strong today as it was then. I still enjoy the movie. I still enjoy it better than a number of other Marvel movies that have come out since.
Really?
I do think it's underrated, but it's got some problems. It always had some problems. I've always overlooked problems with the movie, but I still enjoy watching the movie for the sequences that I dig on. I still enjoy Ed Norton's performance. I do think that he's sometimes doing his level best to carry the entire movie. And I do wonder while watching this movie if maybe he knew things that could have been fixed, should have been fixed, that didn't get fixed. And I kind of wish they'd let him do that. So
this is the worst Marvel.
I was about to say,
by far.
on my list is my bottom.
This is the fucking floor. In fact, they are so lucky Iron Man was as good as it was, because this movie could have killed.
Well, no, I take that back.
Shit.
It's not the bottom. Ghost Rider and those are probably worse, but it's definitely at the bottom
those
5
Marvel
for me.
Cinematic Universe movies,
aren't they?
No, Ghost Rider isn't part of that. No, those were Fox.
Tony Stark never showed up in the stinger of a Ghost Rider movie. What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
God, that would have been great though. Nicolas Cage, like. Yeah, no.
He'd be like, we're building a team. He'd be like, let's go. Gone in 60 seconds.
You need the visual.
Yeah, so I was doing the thing with... Anyway. This is the worst Marvel movie, period. I will watch Thor the Dark World before this shit. I will watch...
the first Thor.
All the Thor movies are way better than this. Iron Man 2 is better than this. I mean, Iron Man 3... It may just be because I'm a hater that I don't like that movie. Iron Man 3 is better than this. This movie's freaking terrible, dude. It's like a bunch of nothing.
Yeah, it was very by the numbers. This is what a comic book movie.
Also, just like I was saying, like that this end scene started, and I was like, "Is this the end of the movie?" And you're like, "Yeah, this is it."
Yeah.
Like this is like he's in Brazil, and then he's at a school, and then he fights Abomination. That's the whole movie
in New York.
I mean, I don't even know how they got from place to place. They've suddenly got a truck, and they don't have a truck. They were in Mexico. I thought, and then suddenly they're in New York, and then a helicopter shows up. Like this is just like a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he's doing Tai Chi, and his eyes turn green. I'm like. I'm like completely like what the fuck is going on in this movie?
After beating the Abomination, Hulk gets away, and it's somewhat awkward transition where a helicopter light hits him and everything goes white, and then he's just gone. And then he ends up in British Columbia. He's apparently continuing to work on his Hulk management, and now he's learning how to trigger the Hulk and transformation at will, which is what the big thing is at the finish. It's like he may not be able to stop being the Hulk, but he's now able to better control when he does and doesn't do so. So,
is there a secret ending where like he tries to shoot himself?
There's an alternate scene. I think that's an alternate beginning where he tries to kill himself,
like up in the Arctic or something. Like
and he hulks out, and they reference that moment in the Avengers movie, which I thought was pretty cool. That they actually acknowledge, because one of the reasons why they cut it out of this movie was because they felt it was too dark to show Bruce trying to shoot himself. But then they reference it in
Avengers.
The sequel. Yeah. So
I thought they were gonna cut it out because it was gonna make all of us jealous.
You're way too hard on this movie. I don't think it's the worst Marvel movie. I still enjoy it. There are some parts there where I'd maybe want to fast forward through, but there are certain scenes.
I believe Mac would say the whole movie.
I'm sorry, because I thought that university scene's fucking garbage.
Really? Even that?
It's terrible, dude.
Okay, well, we're going to agree on
the Abomination Hulk fight scene at the end, I thought it started out okay, like when they're actually on the street, because
it's too long.
They're kicking real cars, and you're seeing real cars tumble. I'm like, oh, that's good. And then it just goes to fucking PlayStation 2, and I'm just like, this, and it goes on forever.
Yeah.
And again, they had the balls to have two CGI guys fighting, fist fighting, and like doing, but it just kept going and going and going. And I'm like, now it's just like, wow, this looks really bad, and it keeps going. And now I'm starting to think maybe even 10 years ago, this looked like shit 10 years ago too. I think that this looked bad.
I think a little too contained. How are you having a fight? These two behemoths are having a fight, and not a single building gets knocked down or anything like that. You know, they managed to fight their way into convenient abandoned area. I think on the same island as Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman fought Doomsday.
Yeah.
You know, so but that just goes to show Batman vs Superman's doing the same kind of shit much more recently than this.
8 years later.
So not a new problem. It wasn't new at the time this movie was made. I still enjoy it. I'll still defend it. There are several Marvel movies. I don't know if I will go so far as to say a bunch. There are several Marvel movies that I like less than this one.
I'm a huge Hulk fan, dude, and even I would say this is at the bottom of my Marvel movie list.
Of all the Marvel movies, really.
Yeah, dude, it's just
like, dude, like Doctor Strange is way better than this movie. I mean, I'm just trying to think of the quote unquote disappointing Marvel movies.
Well, and that's just it, because we're doing these little.
People would say Iron Man 2 is. People generally think the consensus is that Iron Man 2 is a bad movie.
It's the movie they reference the most, but I think
Iron Man 2 is way better than this.
Way
movie.
better than this one, though. Yeah,
way. Between
Iron Man 2 is just way overhated, and Iron Man 3 is way underhated.
The
Although I do see the tide turning on both of those movies. I hear a lot more people in recent years.
I hear it turn on Iron Man 3. I haven't heard it turn on Iron Man 3.
Yeah, okay. It's been slight, but it has been some reevaluation of Iron Man 2 in light of its role in building the Avengers, essentially. And
with Iron Man 2, the opening IndyCar scene where he's fighting Whiplash, and then the end scene where he and War Machine are fighting all the Crimson Dynamo and all the drones from all over the world or whatever. Those two scenes, forget the rest of the movie, those two scenes are incredible compared to some of the fight scenes in these other movies. Yeah, and Iron Man 3's, I just don't get Iron Man 3, but at least it had Robert Downey Jr. in it, so it's got to be better than this.
It's going to be really interesting when we get to the Dark World, because I think you really fail to appreciate how bad the Dark World is.
But I rewatched it. It's not
that bad, because you've still got Hiddleston. You've still got fucking Chris Hemsworth. What's her name? Jane Foster's side.
Natalie Portman, Kat Dennings.
She's hilarious in that movie. So I mean, at least
she's hardly in that movie, dude.
I just remember the scene where they're throwing the shit into the wormhole and it's jumping out somewhere else. It's funny.
So I rewatched all 3 Thor movies not too long ago. The first one is still this one. The first Thor movie is still better than this one. Dark World is bad in parts, but for the most part, it was actually quite enjoyable. I was shocked. I was actually, it's not that bad. It was. I think
it's just sort of there.
Hey, I hope I agree. I've not attempted to watch Dark World since theatrical. I watched it one time theatrical, and I've never.
Now that I literally,
I've watched a few select scenes, and that's it.
Well, now that I own all of the Marvel movies, I've gone back and watched them all back to back, on a day, just when I got nothing to do, to see if I can watch them all back to back. All the Caps held up great. I enjoyed all the Iron Mans. I thought they held up pretty good. I actually enjoyed the third one a little bit more than I thought I would.
I guess I should rewatch it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
No, I'm rushing. We can watch that one in a few years when we catch up to the 10th anniversary of dog shit.
10th anniversary of dog shit.
The dog shit awards.
So bad. I just, the ending of Iron Man 3 is so bad with super Pepper Potts that I'm just like, this.
Yeah, I mean, it did kind of lose me there, but I kind of liked some of the build up. I did like what Happy getting blown up.
And the little kid. Please help me.
Yeah, the panic attack I thought was a little. After seeing Infinity War, though, it makes sense.
Let's get back on topic. This is the worst Marvel movie, and I think there's a reason why nobody's like, well, should we try and make a second Hulk? People are even like, wow, Mark Ruffalo's great. Let's make another Hulk movie.
No, they already did. It's called Ragnarok.
Well, I think this is the Hulk arc that's playing out. That they were you could make another movie.
Well, I think your motivations are skewed. I'm sure after the Avengers, I'm sure it was discussed. I'm sure after Avengers, when they realized what to do with the Hulk and how well the Hulk played in Avengers, I'm sure there was discussions about making a Hulk movie.
I'm sure there was.
And then I think they were like, why are we going to give our money away to Universal when we don't need to do that?
True. No, that's true.
Why are we going to give them a cut? Why don't we continue to use the Hulk as a value-added character? You can support other movies like the Avengers, or we can just save him for the Avengers and make it that much more special when he shows up. I don't think it has anything to do with this movie. I think it's, especially now, 10 years later, you don't think they could pull off a Hulk movie now? No, that's not a problem. It's just,
but honestly,
they're not going to give their money away. They're just going to keep putting Hulk in other people's movies and be like the team-up movies, which, and I read an article about this recently, and I definitely agree. There's an argument. We need maybe not so many Avengers movies, but we need more team-up movies. We need to have a couple of heroes go off and do a movie together, and I'm totally down for
Marvel
that.
team-ups.
Well, I mean, that's the way
Homecoming was kind of that, right?
Not only that, but see, I was pushing my anthology idea with Spider-Man. What I really want to do is, while Spider-Man was at Marvel, because again, at some point, he's supposed to go back to Sony. People kind of keep forgetting that it's not a perfect
Wait
thing.
until Venom bombs.
Yeah. My whole thing is I wanted to see him interacting with other characters in the Marvel Universe. I don't care about seeing Spider-Man in his own stories. I want to see him. Obviously, the next one should be the Hulk team up. To my thinking, that's what you totally do. The next one is Spider-Man and the Hulk. Maybe they don't go that way, but I want to see Spider-Man being Marvel team up as long as he's in the cinematic universe, because that's what you want to do. You want to see Spider-Man interacting with these other characters. I don't know that I necessarily need anybody else in Cap's movies, although Cap and Black Widow works out really well, so they could maybe do that to a smaller degree. But I think Cap's already he got his little circle, so it doesn't work as well to throw the Hulk into a Cap movie.
Hi, this is Falcon.
Although, again, Civil War is basically Cap and Iron Man, so it's proven to have worked in the past.
I just think Hulk works great with Thor. They kind of play off each other better.
It's a good combination, but Hulk and Spider-Man would be interesting too, I think.
I don't know. I like better
I actually kind
Spider-Man and Iron Man.
Peter Parker and Doctor Strange. I thought they got...
Oh, yeah, that too.
And that's worked in the comics back in the day, too, so that would be cool. Yeah.
Because Peter needs like a mentor type character. Hulk is not a mentor.
I think they played that out in Homecoming. I don't think we need to keep seeing that. They can.
He doesn't have a father figure, dude. He's like this.
I know, but I don't need to see that fucking movie, dude. Okay. Oh, he needs a father. That's great. Do that off screen. I want to see another story now.
I just don't see the Hulk and him working out very well. It doesn't play out too well in my mind. It could be. I don't know. I could be wrong. Probably not, but still.
I mean, it's just hard for me to speculate who you team up with because I think the next Infinity movie is gonna fuck all sorts of shit up. So, like, I wouldn't mind seeing a Tony Stark, Mark Ruffalo joint, but I just don't think we're
already seen that though. They do that in Avengers all the time. So, I like the energy of new relationships, new pairings.
Yeah, I don't know what you do. I think Mark Ruffalo's Hulk is in a weird spot. I don't know. I don't even know like what Hulk movie would you make? What would you do? Like,
well, I'm
you know what I mean?
I don't want a Hulk movie.
That's what I'm saying.
I love the Joe Fixit movie.
I think that's part of it too. Is they're like, well, right now, I mean, I guess you could do Joe Fixit, I guess, but
Vegas,
I don't think audiences are clamoring for a Joe Fixit movie. I think you would have a trailer and the whole movie he's fucking gray and in a trench coat, and it'd be like, what?
Well, no, literally, what you do is you disappear the Hulk, and again, just like they did with Avengers: Age of Ultron, you have a circumstance where you disappear the Hulk, like where the fuck's the Hulk, and all of a sudden it's like, what the fuck's this dude doing in Vegas? And you have that could be your Spider-Man movie. Is Spidey's on a Vegas vacation, and there's this great big gray thug.
Well, that's the great thing about the Fixit characters. He's not huge like the Hulk. He's actually a smaller version. He's just really smart, really devious, like very absorbed. Like I would even say self-absorbed, and he's a gangster basically. He's a muscle.
He's more in than Hulk.
But then you're not getting Mark Ruffalo, which I think is
when he turns back to human.
Can do that too. Ruffalo can still play that.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that helps make it interesting for him. He gets to play it in a different way, come up with a different angle. Because if you think about it, he's been fairly consistent in his interpretation of Banner and in the Hulk. So at some point, he might get a little bored and want to kind of shake it up. But it's funny too. We keep talking about all these contracts and whose contract's up and who's coming back. Nobody ever talks about is Ruffalo coming back.
Yeah, nobody ever talks about it.
But I think part of the reason why is because he's not making any noises. I don't think he's trying to go anywhere, and I don't think he's trying to,
he's not making any threats.
There was something that I thought was funny, and they were talking with Brolin about Thanos, and because he said Mark Ruffalo was one of the main people who convinced him that this is going to work. He's like, trust me, this is going to work. You're going to feel dumb with all these little balls all over your face and all the CGI stuff. And he's like, it's going to work. And then he says he's like on set with Ruffalo one of the first days, and he's like, I fucking hate this, and I'm tired of this bullshit already. And Brolin's like, what? I just got here. I thought you told me this was going to be awesome and everything. So I thought that was kind of telling that maybe Ruffalo does not necessarily like all of these parts of it. Now, maybe if he was going to be in his own movie, though, and he could be himself for more than, you know what I mean? I don't know.
I think it's just the opposite. I think that he's probably got the same thing that Robert Downey Jr.'s got. It's like, let me do this for X amount of time in a movie, and then I'm cool with it. If you make me do this for an entire movie, it would fucking make my brain melt. So.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe the fact he only has to do it in small little doses, it's better. But anyway, I don't know how long we're going to have any of these guys, and it freaks me out.
Yeah.
And it takes me on a whole Captain America tangent that I don't know if we want to go on right now. But I hate that we may lose Chris Evans, and there are so many awesome Captain America stories we're not going to get.
Yeah.
It fucking sucks.
Yeah. I still...
Where is his second battle with the Red Skull? Where's his second battle with the Red Skull?
A second battle of Red Skull.
But they left it open. They left it open. But I'm just saying, we don't get any of it. Where's Baron Blood? We don't get any of it. It's been a bunch of S.H.I.E.L.D. Bucky shit.
Yeah, true. Yeah, almost none of Cap's villains have gotten any kind of play.
None. And then that's it. And now we may lose Chris Evans, and, well, that was it. And it's like, what the fuck? Who did he fight in these movies? Winter Soldier, like, every fucking time. And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. And Thanos. And it's like, what? That was 10 years? We wasted 10 years of Chris Evans on this shit? I've enjoyed these movies, but at the same time, like, I kind of wish he never teamed up with anybody. I wish it was just Chris Evans doing Captain America movies.
Yeah.
In a way. Sorry for that tangent. And it's the opposite for Iron Man, because we have all these years of... We actually got 3 legitimate Iron Man movies that had very little taint from the build-up to the Thanos shit?
I don't know. I think that the main problem with Iron Man 2 for a lot of people is how much Avengers shit got dumped into that one movie.
Yeah, maybe. But Hammer. But we had Justin Hammer and Whiplash and kind of, in a way, Crimson Dynamo. I mean,
Black Widow even. She started out as an Iron Man villain. You know, it all plays into his lore.
Yeah, and
now the Iron Man movies are going to be starring Scott Lang. Yeah. So that's going to be different.
Very, very, anyway, these are my regrets from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
We received Facebook attention from Keith G. Baker, Ali Bath, Derek William Crabb, Joe Crawford, Ryan Daly, DeBache, Grant Richter, and Pat Sampson. We got a Google Plus follow from Richard Field. Keith G. Baker gave us Google Plus likes on Paramount Pictures and Marvel Studios Iron Man 10th Anniversary Ultimate Edition 2008, and liked/shared Marvel Studios Avengers Infinity War 2018. Permanent Marvel Maximus followers include Anime Freaks, Anime Nostalgia, Bill Sienkiewicz Art, Blogs for Book, Bobby Blaze Medley, The Brazen Bull, Carlos Digital, Colonize, Comics Out of Context, Constant Taylor, Count Comics, Daniel Emery Taylor, Delvin, Darkweb/Felix Leiter, Dummy Comics, Fair City Podcast, Guido Martinez, Hina Ansari, Hocus Pocus Comics, IG88, Jenny, JJ, Lockett's Elbow, Lyria Exchange, Mountain Comics, The Nerd Rage Podcast, Not Podcast Volume 1, Project Entertainment Network, Questionable Commentary, The Radio Plug, Retro Craptacular, Sam Chip, Stephen J. Gross, Toon Jam, Twist Isle Productions, Uncanny X Polls, Weight Loss Vids, and What's So Funny. Retweet frantic ones include Ange, BS Podcast Network, hashtag Fanart Friday, The Irredeemable Shag, The Randominable, Relatively Geeky, Siskoid, Talk Nerdy to Me, and Watch Full Movie HD Streaming, all in caps. Keepers of the Favorites Flame include Adam Blackmoon, Adam Ironberry, Anthony Joseph, just waiting for AIs to enslave us, Backseat Directors, Pico Django, Bill Hefferer, Bob Buster, Bobcat, Bronze Age Babies, Chris Sheehan, Chronosphere Fiction, CJ, Comic Relief Podcast, Constant Taylor, The Curiosity Blog, Daniel French, Fishbonius Sound Design, Daniel R. Budnick, who added thank you kindly, David Fior, Doc Strange, DSRA Podcast, Dwight L. McPherson, Elliot Anderson, Ava Zarnecka Art, Fairy Gold, Fire Source, Flying Jew, The Hammer Strike, The Hoopers, IG88, Jason Yaroslawski, Jasper's Outfit, Jennifer DeRoss, Jerry McMullen, Jerry Whitworth, Jim Esquivel, John Horsley, Julia Clavian, Justice First Dawn, Kaiser Leo, Let's Chat Podcast, Lewis Campbell, The List Game, Live Action Comic, Longbox Crusade, Longbox of Darkness, Lost in Time, Lyria Exchange, Micah, Max Romero, Michelle Denusse, Nerd Chatting, Nerdfix Strangers, Nethead, Nia, Patrick and Dennis, Paul Thomas, Podcast Radio Network, Poop Culture Podcast, Pop Culture Affidavit, Rafael Antonio, Randy Andrews, Retropolis Tees, Sci-Fi Elements, Sean Merritt, Superhero Speak, Terrence Castanguay, Tim Price, Tony Scipione, Varangian Vigilante, Willie Yarbrough, Wolverton Thief of Impossible Object, Words and Pictures, and Yoart. Now on to the Quite Enough Sayers. On the Wild Agents of Marvel Blue Girl episode, Ryan Daly wrote, good fighting all around. Keith G. Baker added, fighting and racism? Fuck, is it Thanksgiving again already? Ryan Daly wrote of the Iron Man episode, spent 15 minutes writing a comment and then WordPress bullshit scrapped my words. Whatever. Good episode. Of the Infinity War episode, Keith G. Baker wrote, I'm hanging out with Clint during this episode, in case anyone's wondering. Jennifer DeRoss sent us a Harley Quinn gift. Dragons, Sexy Robots, and Adventures sent us an Agent Carter gift. We'll put both those up on the blog. Ryan Daly continued, here are my Avengers Infinity War thoughts on the first of several podcast appearances I make discussing this movie. Firesource wrote, Infinity War podcast, good fun episode. 108 Sage added, once again, your editing magic makes disparate convos mesh seamlessly. Excellent review of an excellent film. Dirk Ashton gave a gasp emoji over Max. Yeah, Frank killed the editing on this episode. Really made a bunch of nonsense flow. Flying Jew wrote, hell yeah, dudes. Stu Perrins added, thanks. Raven X Fields wrote, I'm only an hour in, but why does Frank hate Dragon Ball Z? Haha. LOL. But he loves Alien 3 and neo-feminism. Richard Field wrote, saw it once today, going to see it again after work on Saturday. Love it. Resurrections Podcast wrote, I've still only seen it once, hoping I will have a chance on my day off next week. Randy Caldwell said, I've only seen IW once. Depending on weather, meaning if it rains, I'll probably go again Sunday morning, while people are presumably in church. I'd place Infinity War above Civil War. I'm fairly certain Civil would have happened regardless of Zemo's manipulations. By the way, wasn't that a rather empty airport? Where were all the passengers? Infinity was a Thanos tale. Canoes wrote, I love the Infinity War episode you guys did. It was fantastic. Grant Richter of Unearthly Visions wrote, the discussion in this episode does exactly what a podcast is supposed to do. Make me think about the discussion topic so much that I start monologuing my thoughts on it out loud. The only thing that I didn't like about Infinity War was the fact that Vision was basically just another MacGuffin. I knew what was going to happen to him going in, but other than zapping some Ultron drones and crippling War Machine, we've never seen him really cut loose. Like Ryan Daly said, he's been nerfed through all the movies. I forgot who said it in the episode, but I would love for him to evolve into the MCU equivalent of my other favorite Marvel character, Adam Warlock. Happiness all around either way. Plus ghostly gray, white Vision would be pretty amazing. As much as I dislike ghostly, emotionless Vision as a long-term idea for the character, I think it's an important part of his arc. I'm hoping to see it in the movies, followed by his evolution into an even better version. Siskoid wrote, Warlock is sure to appear in Guardians 3, so... Riff wrote, I listened to the Rolled Spine episode for Infinity War, and while Frank took some aspects of this movie to some very weird and dark places, I do agree that the Wakandans could have made much better use of their tech. I saw in Black Panther they have air support and fighters. Surely they would have turrets and artillery. The blind infantry charge was pretty thin storytelling. It set up a great fight scene, and you got a real sense of urgency from it, but it did kind of stick out to me. I don't feel for a second that any of it would have changed the outcome of that battle, or would have helped the Avengers stop Thanos. But I think it would have been okay for them to say, it's close, but no, it's okay. We got it. We are winning, driving them back. Oh shit, here's Thanos. And now we lost. Which really is basically what happened anyway. Finally, Longbox of Darkness wrote, Vision's going to have his moments in Avengers 4. With Shuri's Sunstone and the newly acquired human emotion of vengeance, he's going to kick all kinds of ass. I'm betting Thanos is going to get a molecular disruption punch. Finally, the Merry Marvel Marching Society, 20th Century Geek, the 108th Sage, Amy Stewart Hale, Angel Velasquez, Anime Freaks, Anime Nostalgia, Adelon Rising, Fat Nick, Retweet Pin Please, Bone Dragon Comics, Brody's Kitchen, The Buff Geek Podcast, Canoes, Caroline Wells, Cash Flag, Chris and Reggie's Cosmic Treadmill, Chris at Bad Books for Beginners, The Cinnabud Podcast, CJ Fox, Collected Edition, Comics in the Golden Age, Daniel Blake, Dr. G Nerdologist, Dirk Ashton, Ed Moore at Teal Productions, Eric Mannix, Expellience GH, Van Holes Podcast, Felipe Alvezeo, who also said, thank you for the kind reminding, Firestorm Fan, Geeky Retro Nerd, Gloria Pardo, Goldmine Productions, Gregory Litchfield, Hanging with Chad, History of Comics on Film, Ice in the Face Podcast, Jason Handelman, Jeffrey Brown, Joe Crawford, Just in Time with the J&T Baggers, Keith G. Baker, Kevin Dodgy, Kira Volk, Martin Gray, Matt Stacy, Monsters and Mystics, Negro Sonic 20-something Warhead, Nexus of All, Paquita Trotamundos, Paul Matthew Carr, Randy Caldwell, Resurrections, and Adam Warlock and Thanos Podcast, Richard Field, Rob Ferreri, Ryan Daly, Sassy Animal, Scott X, Secret Wars and Beyond Podcast, Son of Cthulhu, Steve Sellers, Stu Perrins, Trekker Talk, Unearthly Visions, W.C. Souter, Zach Sally, and Zena Schultz.
The Marvel Superheroes Podcast is in no way affiliated with or endorsed by Marvel Entertainment. All characters mentioned and audio clips employed are believed covered under fair use, with no infringement intended against their copyright holders. Views expressed in this podcast are assumed legitimate, truthful, and solely possessed by the speaker.
Stand a little straighter, walk a little prouder, be an innovator, laugh a little louder, grow forever greater, we can show you how to. Where will you be then?
Boom.
Very strange.